The ultimate internet troll hits Amazon Prime. The great McDonald's in the sky has one new patron. And Guillermo del Toro doesn't mince words with Alfonso Cuarón.
Oh, it's time for class.
Class is in session!
Roll call! Bueller?
I'm gonna be late for class.
Bueller?
Am I hallucinating here? Just what in the hell do you think you're doing?
I'm late for class.
You are mine now. You belong to me.
Did you study for the test?
No more complaining. No more Mr. Kimblett to go to the bathroom. Nothing. There is no bathroom.
Hello, classmates. Welcome to another episode of Middle Class Film Class. I'm your host for today, Pete.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Joseph.
And we have a banner show today. Fantastic show. And welcome to everybody in YouTube Live and otherwise. And of course, the OG classmates in podcast land. Thank you so much for joining in, listening, downloading week after week. It means a lot.
Yes, it does.
Here we are.
We're here.
We're here.
Yeah.
And you guys have jackets.
I have jackets. It's cloudy today, so I put on a jacket.
I wouldn't call this. It's a flannel, not a jacket.
It's a long sleeve, and this isn't very thick. This is just like a little.
No, it's not a long sleeve. I just said it's a flannel. Look at the flannel patterning on.
Would you consider those sleeves short?
Technically, flannel's a fabric, not an apparel. It's been colloquialized into an.
Oh, is that right?
Like
I
Kleenex.
had no idea. Oh,
Like
okay.
khakis.
Yeah,
or
Khakis
Sharpies.
Khaki is actually a color.
Okay.
They're khaki pants, khaki slacks.
All right. Well.
Anyways, now that we've got
Apparel
past
talk.
the important
That's new.
stuff, I know. We moved on from weather talk to pants talk.
I thought we were going to talk about the weather.
No, we're not talking about that one.
I gave you the old switcheroo.
God damn it.
I was thinking. I had a little random thought on the way over about our personalities and the show and like how it's evolved over the last 4 years.
Yeah,
Sure.
almost 5. Yeah,
And how we have our own sort of unconscious, subconscious, conscious bits that we personality traits that we bring to the show.
Okay.
Like Tyler's is terrible bits and bad opinions.
I don't know what to say.
Wait a minute.
Like that's his bit.
I don't need this attack from you.
My bit is that I don't want to be here, and Pete's is like he doesn't take anything seriously.
Wait a minute.
I take the show seriously.
But that's the bit. Is
this assault.
Yeah, it's all in good nature. We're all aware that we do this.
Yeah,
That was just a thought that I had on the way over.
That's funny.
I'm trying to think if I actually have any other bits. Besides disparaging Tyler all the time.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like I'm being assaulted by you, Joseph.
I mean, take your medicine.
Who's being assaulted?
Take your medicine.
Well,
That's your bit.
I've always been I've always been taking my medicine and being
Also, playing the victim. That's Tyler's bit.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Here we go.
Outrageous Tyler.
Oh yeah, I'm very outrageous. Yeah.
So, anyways, we actually have a really, really exciting first segment on the show. We have a guest who's a director and partially a victim. Yeah. So we're gonna get into that here in just a second for some Gab Chatter.
Find some charity, ye lad. Now's the time for Gab Chatter.
Gab Chatter, movie news of the week. And normally I would default to Tyler. We go in the rotation, but I'm going to take the point on this one because on the back line, we have I already kind of mentioned it already, Peter John Ross, who is the director of a new documentary called Social Media Monster that is out on Amazon Prime next week, available for rental. And we have him on the back line now. What's up, Ross? How you doing, buddy?
Hello, how's everybody doing?
Oh, doing great, man. Doing great.
well.
Good to have you here.
Fantastic. We got our long sleeves on, except for Pete.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm nice and cool. Yeah. So, where are you calling us from?
I'm in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, okay. So you're not in Missouri, where the events of your documentary take place.
No, I was blissfully uninvolved until I got a phone call from a city councilman in Missouri.
Oh yes.
Councilman.
Yeah. So
Yeah, the basic idea of it is I'd had this encounter on an indie film site in 2012. This guy originally called himself Taylor Hanachek. And just, we had a disagreement on a website. No big deal. Then a few days later, I started getting emails from a Matt Allen or Matthew Kane, depending on which email address he used, referring to that stuff. And then all of a sudden, it's like, wait, are you the guy from that other site? And I just told him, I have no interest in whatever you're talking about. And then he just hammered me.
Oh, geez.
and
Like dozens of threatening emails saying that he he's like, I just filed a lawsuit. It was like a Sunday morning, and he's like, a process server's on his way. And I'm like, okay. You know, by the way, 14 years later, that process server never arrived. I certainly hope they're okay.
Yeah. So basically the long and short of it, so the documentary is called Social Media Monster. And I think at first, when you contacted me and kind of gave me the scoop on your doc, I was thinking it was about the overall concept of social media in our society. And I've kind of shared and talked with some people about this since I watched it, because it is fascinating. It's a real worthwhile watch. And everyone said, oh yeah, you know, it's a shame what, you know, social media is doing to society. And that's kind of what I went into. Instead of that, it's a very pointed view of one specific troll online that almost supersedes and transcends like the title of social media troll, in my opinion. And Matthew Burdick is the guy's name. And he terrorized you. He terrorized this small town. What's the name of the town in Missouri again?
And now we're the next
St.
victim.
Joseph.
St. Joseph, that's it, yeah. So it's the town of St. Joseph, who he not even from, he was just passing through one day and decided to make this place his home. And one small altercation at a Denny's turned into...
IHOP.
Oh, IHOP, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I formally apologize to IHOP LLC. But this altercation turned into like this quote unquote uncovering the truth of corruption in St. Joseph, Missouri. And you're like, it's the small town outside of St. Louis that is a birthplace of Eminem or something like that. Or I can't remember.
Yeah, Eminem was born there. You also had Jesse James was shot and killed there.
Oh yeah, that was really interesting.
Okay.
But it's a fascinating story and you got pulled into this from completely out of state. And name besmirched. You had a television series of frame lines that was basically canceled as an indirect result of this. And it's completely insane. What compelled you to make this into the doc? I mean, I know why, because I watched the doc, but what compelled you to make it?
Well, the weirdness is like I said, I wish this Matthew Burdick was not nearly as compelling and interesting of a character. Because it's for all the reasons he doesn't think they are. Mm-hmm. It's like watching a train wreck in extreme slow motion, and you cannot take your eyes off of it. And I wish that wasn't true. I wish I was not obsessed with how does this end? How does someone live like this? It just fascinates me endlessly.
Yeah,
and
it is fascinating.
So basically, yeah, there was that incident at the IHOP, and it just spiraled out of from there because I don't know what compels him or motivates him truly, but he wanted to make a national incident out of it, attempted to get local media, local TV, the police, the city council, get them all riled up about what he calls like quote unquote hate crime. Mm-hmm. But no one on the planet agrees with him that a hate crime occurred.
Yeah.
Because it didn't. It's like factually that's not what happened.
Yeah.
But he's railing against reality, but that's all of a sudden corruption. And the worst part about this is like this is a 90-minute documentary about just what happened in St. Joseph. The virtually identical story has happened in Des Moines, Iowa, Hinckley, California, Akron, Ohio, Front Royal, Virginia, Asheville, North Carolina.
All from this one guy, huh?
It's like Groundhog's Day. He keeps reliving the same incident, just in a different town. And it's bizarre because, again, the question comes up is like, is he actually not recognizing reality? As in, is he delusional and mentally ill? Or is it actually very much a conscious act on his part to get attention, to just be a pest and bother people?
I mean, like, you could go both ways on it. Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, you could argue that getting attention in that nature could be a mental illness as well.
Yeah, it's like attention-seeking sort of compulsion or whatever.
So exactly. Yeah. It's like a compulsion for him to
be the center of attention.
Yeah.
Well, but that's the other thing is when you say mentally ill, mild depression is a mental illness. Mm-hmm. Full-blown non-functioning schizophrenia is a mental illness. It's a pretty broad spectrum.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we have this overcompensation today to when you hear mental illness, you want to give empathy. And I definitely want to give empathy to Matthew Burdick, but if you do anything that shows that empathy, he will take advantage of it and run with that ball.
He makes it very difficult to feel sorry for him.
I guess that's just the complicated nature of humans, really.
It is. And just for context, Joseph and I watched the documentary. Sorry to call you out, Tyler. Tyler has not seen it yet, but it is, you have to watch this, Tyler, to get a full view of like what type of person you're dealing with. Because as the documentary evolves, you're kind of like, man, these townspeople are kind of, they're making a big deal. Like they're making a whole documentary about this guy. It's not that bad. And then it spirals into a point where there's terrorist threats against a nuclear facility.
Oh my God.
Over somebody questioning whether or not he's like famous or something. You know? Very minor slights against this person's character turns into essentially what could be a national security risk. And it's, you know, that line, the towing the line, like I do feel sorry for him and I do hope he gets help. But the reality is he's living with either an undiagnosed or untreated severe personality disorder. And the people of name the city across the country are the ones that are dealing with the effects. And the crazy thing about the documentary, Ross, as I'm watching it, you guys talk about it a couple times, is nobody's doing anything about it. There's as far as like an official, official sort of response, because there's an actual threat against a nuclear facility, like a firebombing against a nuclear facility that's done by this guy. And they have receipts, they have notes, they have emails from him, they have public records that are available, screenshots and whatnot. Yeah. And basically the FBI has investigated him and nothing happened from it. So it's like, what happens one day when he makes good on one of those promises and pays off on this?
I mean, you do a good job in the documentary doing the parallels with other actual domestic terrorists, like school shooters and like people that give away that have warning signs, and then they do the thing because no one stepped in and interfered.
And that's actually the actual answer when you ask why did I make this documentary. It's not, I didn't make a movie about Matthew Burdick. I made a movie about these bigger issues.
Yeah.
This bigger story about how where we're at as a society right now we're at a very strange crossroads. We have law enforcement is stuck with the laws we have, which are very much 20th century laws. And then you have the courts that, as I've been experiencing, because what's happened since the documentary is he made so many violent threats, I had to get a civil stalking protection order, which is now granted. He's violated it numerous times. There are warrants for Matthew Burdick's arrest in Columbus, Ohio. But guess what? Misdemeanors, which means if he never sets foot in Franklin County, Ohio, nothing will happen to him.
Yeah.
I am working on a kind of, for lack of a better word, sequel that's the broader, bigger story. And the most interesting thing for that is I have audio recordings with FBI agents, chiefs of police, where they flat out say he is permitted, that's the word they use, permitted to continue doing this as long as he stays out of Franklin County.
Wow.
So it's very strange to have unrelated law enforcement use the same word, permitted.
It's also strange, like the apathetic nature of it all. You would think like all of these threats and crimes against society would garnish some sort of punishment.
Maybe we should check this guy out.
Yeah, or at the very least, you know, as I'm watching this, you know, another person get their physical. You know, like there's at one point in the documentary, there's a benefit show that these people who have been kind of harassed by this guy decide to put on. And there's like a local band from St. Joseph that are kind of They Might Be Giants type, modern band. And they make these fun lyrics using his threatening messages. Hilarious. One of my favorite parts of the documentary is when they're playing that song and the lyrics are popping up on screen and it's actual screenshots of his text messages and Facebook comment threads and stuff. It's the most ridiculous things with terrible grammar. But when they're promoting this benefit show that's the Victims of Matthew Burdick Fund, he's physically saying if someone dies tonight, it's not my fault. Watch your back on stage. There might be an assault rifle in the audience. Like things like that. And you're like, that's how much more of a direct correlation do you have to have, you know?
Oh, yeah. Just so you know, the FBI were undercover at the concert.
Yes.
They stuck out like a sore thumb. You could tell they were there.
Oh, okay.
So, and I say this in the documentary, it's like, so they found his threats credible enough to be there, but not credible enough to do a damn thing about it.
So if he did show up, they might get shot as well.
I think he would have never made it through the door.
No. And that's the other thing too, is like all of the threats and all of the, besides the, you know, kind of getting involved with people's personal lives, you know, calling someone's work and saying, you know, this person's working for you and they're a pedophile, by the way, with no substantiation, or whatever it might be that he's threatening, you know, outside of the real world repercussions of that, you know, meddling, it seems like all these our threats are idle. They're blind. They're just like, they're glib. He says, I'm going to sue you, and then the lawsuit never happens 12 years later. You know?
Maybe I just had this conspiracy theory about Burdick himself. Maybe he's like they won't do anything because he's like a sleeper agent.
Oh, shit.
He's a
disruptor?
He's like a government experiment gone wrong.
He's Dan Stevens in The Guest.
Yeah.
Wow, I don't know. I mean, I hate to give him that much credit. I just hope he gets help.
Yeah,
more than anything.
Funny thing is sadly, one other person has suggested that exact thing to me. Was my ex-girlfriend. I'm like, so you think it's more likely the government was involved and is allowing this as opposed to just untreated mental illness?
Yeah. It's probably less likely, but it is fun to think about.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say there's no possibility, but the possibility is so remote. And given the number of FBI agents I've spoken with about Matthew Burdick, the last time I spoke to an agent, which was at this point 8-9 months ago, 16 FBI offices have an open file with his name on it.
Bro, they have less on the Unabomber.
16
What are we going to do about this Burdick guy? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's someone else's problem.
When they were the agents from Cleveland told me that when they got the file, they said, well, the agents are kind of in the different areas are kind of split. Half think he's all talk and it's beneath the FBI to even look at him. The other half were like, I don't want to be the one to have to answer if he's actually serious and something happens. So I want to take it. So the nuclear threat, Cleveland office got to take lead for a while. And according to them, they told me this directly. They presented it to the United States attorney. They do like 4 or 5 months of investigation. And they have under 2 minutes to pitch it to the United States attorney.
Jesus. Whoa, man.
And the United States attorney said, if I get one 80-year-old woman on the jury that doesn't understand how the internet works, this is not a slam dunk. Next.
Oh, man. That's a bummer.
And then the other offices of the FBI, like I think San Francisco, this is pure speculation on my part. No one told me which office, but when I spoke to this one agent in San Francisco named Roland Martinez, I'm going to say his name because I think he quit, but also fuck him. Sorry for the language.
All right, yeah.
Fuck him, because I remember talking to him about, hey, he's making the mother of his daughter, Burdick's daughter, extremely nervous about threatening to show up there. Can you at least call her and make her feel better? He never called.
Yeah.
What a piece of shit that FBI agent was, that no empathy whatsoever for someone that was scared to death.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow.
Yeah.
And it's all for him was like, he's actually said, this is beneath the FBI. That's what he said on the phone to me.
Making domestic terrorist like threats that's beneath the FBI.
The fact that they're even like having this discussion, I feel like warrants enough to step in. Like pontificating, he might be a terrorist. Or not.
Think about the opposite. Then you're into Minority Report area. We also have to think, and being a film, this is why making the documentary was so therapeutic for me, is I have to play all sides. I have to look at things as objectively as I can, and it's kept me very sane. So when I look at that, it's like, okay, so what's the flip side? he hasn't done anything per se.
Except for
That could start to curtail
threats
civil
and-
rights.
Yeah, threats and disturbing the peace.
But again, that sounds more like local charges.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like FBI federal charges.
Yeah.
So do you see what I mean? Is
Yeah,
it's also
I get
like-
it. Yeah.
It's a bureaucratic conundrum that they're in.
It is. It's a thing to where it's no different than getting a murderer off on a technicality. Is it's like
Yeah. But
setting
then you-
them free
yeah.
is at the expense of innocent people not going to jail.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
But
And-
then you're just in the stalemate of doing nothing.
Yes.
yeah, and the people who are in his weird circle are the ones that are essentially the victims. You know.
Yeah.
It's almost like this state of fear. So I have a question. Somebody in our chat, Bruce, he mentions, I assume this project addresses the idea of feeding the troll, as in this documentary actually kind of feeds that sort of person. And
Yes.
I think that you talk about it in the documentary enough, and you mentioned it a little bit, but kind of give us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it is a little bit in the documentary, but separate from the documentary, yeah, the idea of don't feed the troll. Well, there's a couple layers there for me on this. Number one, it's way, way too late for me. This started for me 12 years ago,
Jesus.
and it's never really stopped. I think his obsession with me is so extreme. I have gone 12 and 18 months of nothing, no acknowledgement, nothing. He was still filling up my inbox. He was still tweeting about me, Facebook posts about me. It didn't slow anything down.
Yeah.
So I have to weigh it out now in terms of giving him what he wants, which is he's going to be able to get fans almost. And I mean, I hope this analogy is, I'm not trying to really compare him to this, but it's like Charles Manson getting love
I
letters.
was just thinking the same thing.
It's like Charles Manson getting love letters. And in Burdick's case, it's like he's going to get women that feel sorry for him and send him money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he can keep moving and keep getting away with this stuff, right? I have to weigh that versus the victims' stories being unheard and never experiencing justice.
Right.
I have to weigh it against this documentary forewarning people, if he starts harassing you, the best thing to do is the opposite of what I did. Ignore him.
You're already
because
pot
I
committed.
didn't.
Yeah, you're already pot committed. You can't turn back now.
Because here, well, I mean, again, I do not ever want to portray myself as a sweet angel that never did anything wrong. No. When I got those emails in 2012 from Matt Cain, and I didn't know his real name at the time, I was going through a divorce, even though I'd never gotten married. When my girlfriend and I had been together for 10 and a half years, when you own property and pets together and lawyers have to be involved in your breakup, I got divorced but never got married.
Oh, yeah.
I get
So,
it. I get
um,
it. I get it.
So what happened was, on the day that she took the kitten that I'd been with for 10 years, and we're splitting up our cats. I got 2 cats, she got her cat back. The night she picked up that cat was like, that was when I got the 8th email in a row from Burdick calling me a fat fuck.
Oh, God.
Which, to be clear, hey, some guys got a 6-pack. I got the whole keg. Okay? I'm okay with my weight. I'm not offended by it, but it's kind of like,
Who is this guy?
well,
He's just punching you down, though.
but here's what's great about it is it's like, well, somebody's got to pay for my misery. Why not the asshole that just called me a fat fuck 8
Yeah.
times in a row?
So
I went like this. I'm like, well, let's get to that keyboard and work out some frustration.
Yeah.
And I wrote the most heinous, horrible shit. He had sent me like a 9-paragraph autobiography that I'd never read that night.
God.
And I went through it paragraph by paragraph and just ripped it to shreds. I'm like, oh, you're saying your father abused you? Well, maybe he didn't hit you hard enough because you didn't fucking learn
Jesus
anything.
Christ.
So, I mean, I was in a really bad place.
Sure.
And just so you know, as much as that might be playing for laughs, it was entirely wrong of me
Sure, yeah.
to do that. I have apologized to Matthew for this repeatedly, and I'll do it again right now. Matthew, I'm sorry that I said these things to you. And the thing is, and again, it doesn't just like, oh, it's just the one time. In 2015, he did the same thing. I started getting.
It keeps going.
I had like a year and a half where I forgot he existed.
Thank God.
And I started getting these weird email replies from reply alls, and I didn't realize he was in my spam folder. I look at it. He never stopped emailing me. And now in like January or February of 2015, after like 18 months of silence from me, he's sending me and a bunch of people I'd never heard of emails saying, I am demanding that you all leave me alone. I was like, what are you talking about? I didn't even remember who you were. So again, I couldn't help myself at the time, and I did a reply all to complete strangers. Goes like, hey everybody, I'm looking forward to next month when we have our anti-Matthew Burdick picnic. We booked a Dream Theater cover band because that's his favorite band. I was like, I got that. I go, and I just listed off the names like Ernest, who I'd never heard of. I'm like, Ernest, you can bring the potatoes. And I was like, you, Marjorie, you're going to bring the wine, right? You said you're bringing the wine. And it just like, and of course, what did that do? That just lit him up like a Christmas tree. Like, I always knew you guys were working together. It's like, oh my God. And at one point, one of the dumbest things I did is my address for my work was a suburb of Columbus called Westerville. And he said, I'm going to let the Westerville police know there's a predator roaming the streets that says these things to people. I'm like, and I just looked up the name of the chief of police. It was like William something. I go, well, you tell Bill I said hello, and I'll see him at the poker game. He'll do whatever I tell him to do. You know, it's like total sarcastic. He then emails the chief of police about all this. You know, I knew you were corrupt. You need to do something about this. And I was like, okay, I need to bring this back down that went a little too far.
Yeah.
Well, by
the end of the year, I'd filed for my first civil stalking protection order against him, but never went through because we couldn't find him to serve him.
Well, I got a couple of things that I wanted to touch on before we got to break off. But number one, this really kind of touches on the delicate fabric that is our social norms. You know, like we can speak in confidence with each other like normal people. That, you know, with sarcasm is picked up as sarcasm, especially when it's laid on very, very thick. You know, and it's like you're a documentary filmmaker and like basically give us a little bit about Frame Lines, your TV series.
Well, my partner Scott Spears and I co-created the show Frame Lines for regional PBS in the entire state of Ohio. It was an educational show about filmmaking. I'm 100% self-taught, so every time I'd learn something, I would make a little like 2 or 3 minute tutorial. And eventually, Burdick in 2014 started contacting the Ohio Channel, which is like you know how they have air stations? There's like 13.1, 0.2, 0.3 now. Yeah. It was the 0.2 station of every PBS in the state of Ohio.
Okay.
And that's what we were on, was the Ohio Channel. Originally, we were on PBS with WOSU, then we got to the Ohio Channel. Well, Burdick started emailing them, telling them to remove it. And in 2017, I think it was, he told them that I was a pedophile and that he would run an advertisement campaign saying they support pedophiles if they continued to show the shows. So they called me and they said, yeah, we don't believe him, but it's easier for us to cancel your show than deal with his nonsense.
Damn.
Yeah.
So they canceled the show.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was a revenue stream and everything for me. I mean, I lost money making that. Not a lot. I mean, I basically made $2 an hour with the amount of time and passion I put into that show. And I've spun off the purely educational videos I was doing, because I got, as you probably know from the movie, I got 4 regional Emmy nominations for Frame Lines, for the educational segments. But my mom epically said that she reminded me quite often, a nomination is not a win.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
And what gets worse is my mom passed away this past January.
Yeah, I saw the dedication. I'm sorry.
I dedicated it to her in the end credits, but then the worst thing is, what does Burdick do? Goes on Twitter, does a live rage, shit talks my mom. Says some
He's like
really,
the Westboro Baptist Church, this guy.
That's a good analogy.
He said some of the most heinous shit anyone could have ever said. And it's just terrible. Just terrible.
That's a bummer.
I mean, you know what happens? Instead of getting angry, I get the opposite. I get more empathetic. I start wondering, like, what makes this guy hurt in such a way?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I think about it.
That's how I feel about it. It's like, when he attacks me like that, it's not anger I get, it's empathy. It's like, why can't this guy get help? Why can't he see that this is saying these horrible things makes him a terrible human being. No question. Mentally ill or not, attacking a family when our mother died is not.
It really does feel like Westboro Baptist Church. I never even thought about it like that, Joseph. But that's basically the long and short of it, of Social Media Monster. When does it hit? When is it available for people to access on Amazon?
Technically, it's supposed to hit May 31st on Amazon Prime for rental and purchase.
Okay.
They might be pushing it a week because somebody, for some reason, is contacting them upset about the content of the movie.
I wonder who it was.
Yeah.
I wonder which singular person is doing that. But
And I will say, I will co-opt this. It is a really strong recommend. I know that you mentioned on some of your like Twitter posts, oh, it's just my little documentary. Don't go into it too high expectations.
So humble.
Yeah, it's very humble about it. But the content of what you have there is absolute like fascination, because everybody who has any presence online can have at least some sort of like recognition. Relatability to it. It's like, I've known people that just don't stop online. It's like they will not stop no matter how much you ignore them. They just keep going. And at some point you're just like, all right, I'm going to block this person and I never have to see him again. And they somehow find a way to contact you. It's like this times 1,000, but then times 1,000 people who are being affected by this guy.
Yeah.
I don't know how he physically has the time.
Yeah.
he's still doing it to this day. And you want to know the worst thing about what's happening right now, today in May of 2024?
What's that?
He's in a pilot program with Facebook where they're fucking paying him for engagement on Facebook.
Damn.
Yeah, that's
he's on like his 5th or 6th permanent ban, and yet he has an account under his name, and they are paying him right now.
Jesus Christ.
That's the insane thing is, like, you know, it doesn't take much to get banned on Twitter or Facebook or any of these things. And you get a 24-hour temp ban or a 48 3-day ban or whatever. At some point, it's like it turns into a permanent ban, and the fucking guy's still there. He's out still doing it. So
he brings in the numbers.
Yeah, it's absolutely fascinating.
And look at the other side of that. The last thing I'll say about this, which is law enforcement is only made to deal with the real world.
Mm-hmm.
I interviewed 2 cops that were here about violating the Civil Stalking Protection Order. So they had just gotten out of the academy. I was like, how long were they there? They're like, 6 months of training. I'm like, how much time was spent about internet and internet crimes? He said, 48 minutes.
Damn.
Yeah, that makes sense.
48 minutes, Jesus.
48 minutes. That's all the training he got about internet crimes as a cop.
Yeah, it's...
Now, again,
it's
that's not his fault. That's at a much higher pay grade than that poor kid.
Yeah, for sure.
Then the other thing about that is, well, who should regulate it? Social media companies. The more people fight online, the bigger the engagement, more eyeballs, the more they can charge for ads. So not only are they not inspired to stop it, they profit from it.
Yeah, they have a financial stake to let it keep going. That's a damn. It's
So
a damn shame.
That's where we're at in the world, and it sucks.
Yeah. All right, listeners, wait until May 31st or maybe a little bit later. Bookmark it. Go to justwatch.com and add it to your watch list. The documentary is called Social Media Monster. And Peter John Ross, you go by Ross. Thank you, Ross. I really appreciate you, buddy.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it. And watch the damn movie.
Yeah, watch
One
it.
guy who did.
Watch it, damn it.
Keep an eye out for-
Tyler.
I will.
Keep an eye out
Yeah,
for Social Media
Tyler.
Monster 2.
Thanks, guys.
All right, see you, buddy.
Thank you.
Bye.
Oh, boy, what a delight.
I feel like we're putting our lives in danger by like discussing this documentary. Just after that discussion.
Yeah, well, I mean, Ross did say he's going to send us a list of accounts that we should block on Twitter and Facebook.
Just to
Instagram.
prepare.
Yeah, just to get ready for it. And I'll put all the emails into all the different email addresses for the Facebook page.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Tyler, you barely even have an online presence. What do you have to worry about?
What are you talking about? I have.
All you do is retweet AI from mangas.
I don't retweet. I don't retweet. I'm not even on Twitter.
Half of the
AI waifus.
Half of the Instagram stories, stuff that you post to your stories, are all AI. I don't know if you know that.
Yes, I do know that. I'm very acutely aware.
And why are you doing it? Why are you supporting AI art?
Because it looks cool.
You're a fucking loser. I swear to God. Damn. You come on this show and say, "Oh yeah, I support anti-AI for the arts," and then you're out here. look at this waifu. She's hot. I'm going to repost it.
Yeah, why not?
Have some integrity, boy.
All right, fine. Whatever.
Stand by your convictions.
Whatever. Can I go on to my news story?
Is the cartoon boner worth it?
I have an AI boner.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. All right. Yeah. So yeah, that was really, really
fascinating.
fascinating.
That was a very illuminating
Normally,
conversation.
Normally we don't have guests on that long, but I feel like we didn't. I didn't even want to let that conversation end.
I know.
We should have asked him to watch FernGully.
That's right. All right. Yeah. So Tyler, go ahead and go with your news story.
So I think it's not lost on everyone that we know that Morgan Spurlock, who was famous for directing the Super Size Me documentary, where he ate McDonald's for 30 days, he's passed away from complications from fighting cancer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because Super Size Me is a controversial documentary because at the time that he was making it, he was like a severe alcoholic. And so like all of the symptoms that he was showing, that he was portraying as just eating McDonald's all day,
fatty liver disease.
It was just him, just being a saucehead.
Mm-hmm. And so I've never heard that phrase before.
And so
I like it.
And so that's why like a lot of people disparaged the documentary, because I think they made it. I think there was someone who made a documentary in like the same vein of Super Size Me, where they ate McDonald's for
replicate it.
Yeah, they replicated it and they were fine.
Well, that guy's fucking eating Big Macs for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day.
Yeah, that one tall dude.
Yeah, and he's still doing it.
And he looks pretty gangly too. He
John Lennon looking ass.
Yeah, he does look like John Lennon.
But the reason, I mean, this guy was he was an asshole. He was a sexual fiend.
I was telling Tyler that I could set my watch to how reliable he is about certain things. Number one, didn't watch the movie I asked him to watch. Mm-hmm. Number two, talk ill of the dead the week they die. Roger Corman died, and within an hour, Tyler's like, fuck him. Mm-hmm. Marlon Spurlock's been cold for less than 48 hours, and he's already calling him an asshole.
No, that's
he put a hit piece out of him on the show.
No, it's true.
Don't cry for this guy. He's a prick.
No, he's been accused of sexual misconduct numerous times. Like, this guy is a piece of shit. But yeah, rest in peace, I guess. But the reason why I'm mentioning this story, so this movie came out this documentary came out in 2004.
Yeah.
And
20 years ago.
Right. Yeah. I feel like this movie inspired a lot of other documentary filmmakers to go on, and because this movie, I'm sorry, I keep saying movie. This documentary, I feel, captured a general audience, and because before
it was very accessible to the masses.
Because before,
also disgusting to watch.
Yeah, it was.
It's a little Schadenfreude.
Yeah, it was a little disgusting. But before,
kind of made me want a McNugget though.
But before Super Size Me came out, documentaries were kind of like known as being like, this. I don't want to watch this. This is something you would watch like in a classroom.
I have to learn in my free time.
Yeah.
Oh.
Very scientific. Yes.
But I feel. But what I feel Spurlock did was inspire general audiences, or the general public in general, the general public to be interested in documentaries. Mm-hmm. And documentaries after Super Size Me, we have Fahrenheit 9/11 coming out.
That was after Super Size Me?
I think it was before, but
at least are you saying to go seek those out?
Right. Yeah. It became in like the zeitgeist of movies to watch.
Mainstream documentaries.
Yeah, mainstream documentaries. And so, it sucks that he died. I guess. I don't know. I don't know this man.
This is a touching eulogy you're giving him.
I don't know.
Fun fact: there was one time when I was in Vegas, like in 2015, and I was walking to the hotel casino floor, and Spurlock was there, and he was filming for he was filming a show or something. And I walked by him. I was like, that's fucking Super Size Me guy over there. And
Really?
I remember him being kind of tall. He, I mean, at least at the time, he looked like he was like over 6 foot.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know. I would just that was like the closest interaction I ever had with him.
Interesting.
I saw him filming at a table.
Yeah. So Spurlock, he's cold and dead in the ground. And
From cancer.
From
Does it say what kind of cancer?
No, it doesn't say.
Just a general cancer.
General cancer.
Yeah, just general cancer.
He had bonitis, I think.
Yeah, maybe so. And also, I'm springing this discussion on you
Please
guys.
don't. We had a
Yes,
30
I am.
minute, 30 minute initial segment.
I'm springing this discussion on you.
I want to know.
So I was at the bar a couple nights ago.
Big surprise.
Actually, you know what?
Big surprise.
I was at the bar a couple nights ago.
Okay.
And I heard this I heard this discussion. God damn it! I heard this discussion about what was inside the briefcase in Pulp Fiction, Marcellus Wallace's briefcase. And you know, like when Vincent, he opens up the briefcase and then it shines. It's orange light.
Yeah.
So for a little bit of context. When in lore of our human society, when the devil takes your soul out of your body, they go from the back of the head, which is why he had the Band-Aid on the back of his head, Marcellus Wallace.
Okay.
And so everyone theorized like, oh, well, it was the soul of Marcellus Wallace in the briefcase.
Everyone theorized that.
Yes.
Everyone.
Yes. Everyone.
Did they?
Matthew Burdick theorized that.
I don't think we should mention his name.
It's like Beetlejuice.
There's some of them.
Take the shit out. So anyway, so I was at the bar and like I heard these bros talking about that.
Okay.
And they were like, "Oh, I think it was a soul. No, I think it was like a diamond or something great, like something supernatural or whatever."
A diamond.
And I'm gonna tell you. I said the most.
Oh God!
You shot across the bar.
No, I was sitting next to them.
Oh, okay.
He's Will.
I said-
You still shouted.
You gave him a Will Hunting.
I said the most wisecracking thing ever. I was like,
okay.
I
It's better be good.
Say it.
I said it wasn't his soul, it wasn't money or a diamond. It was a light bulb. And they looked at me like I was like the biggest asshole in the room.
Use your brain.
But anyways, but the discussion I wanted to ask though too is
We're actually having this.
well,
you can ask us what we think.
I was setting it up, and so I was thinking to myself when I first saw Pulp Fiction for the very first time with virgin eyes, I thought it was his soul. So
I've never thought that.
My question I'm proposing to you guys: what did you guys think upon virgin eyes watching Pulp Fiction? What was in that briefcase?
I had no thoughts on it whatsoever.
Yeah, I didn't.
I
honestly, I can't. I'm not the right person to ask because I have not seen Pulp Fiction from beginning to end.
Oh, really?
What?
Interesting.
No, I've seen.
You went to film school and you haven't seen Pulp Fiction?
Honestly, they never talked about Pulp Fiction really in the
What?
film school. No.
Yeah.
Okay, well, colored me surprised.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was. I mean, as my childhood brain, I thought it was drugs. You know, but it lights up, and I'm like, man, drugs are shiny. And then, you know, as I got older, I'm like,
Shiny cocaine.
I'm sure Tarantino was trying to be clever or something and like get people to talk about it. So there was no real answer. You can infer all the stuff. I like the idea of the soul, Marcellus Wallace's soul. It's kind of interesting, and the fact that he's trying to get it back is also pretty interesting.
It's kind of like the folder situation in Whiplash.
Yeah,
Like, where did it go? Doesn't matter.
doesn't matter. It's a catalyst. In this case, it's not a catalyst. It's the climax.
Yeah. So anyways, I thought that was like a little fun story that I had.
Tiny little fun story.
That was super fun.
I don't understand this assault that's coming towards me
You're like
today.
you recap a clever thing that you said at a bar.
And you set it up like this was the most clever thing that I've ever said.
Get ready. You guys, I can't.
I was thinking about it all week. Come on, man.
That was my high. That was my high note.
It was a light bulb. Yeah, that was the jerk store moment.
It was a light bulb.
Very
Come
good.
on. That was
How drunk were you when you said that?
I was half in the bag.
Okay, so take that into consideration. 'Cause when you're drunk, you don't dance as good as you think you know. Your jokes are not as funny as they think they are. Chat, can everybody chime in and say, was that a good anecdote?
I thought it was. Come on.
Was Lightbulb the zinger that he thought? Was it a Will Hunting moment?
I said it was a light bulb because it was a light bulb.
Literally.
Yeah.
Before we move on to Joseph, we got some comments in the chat. David Rosens from Piecing It Together. Hi, David. He says, I'm a sauce head, but it's marinara. Andrew Martin from Cult of Cinema says, Morgan Spurlock also outed himself as being a rapist.
Oh, geez.
That's interesting. Joe Bridges says, as someone who worked on a chicken farm, Spurlock's chicken industry doc was actually really good. And Kevin from Real Spoiler says that, Tyler, you're right. It's one of the most mainstream documentaries he can think of, and it definitely was responsible for getting the general public interested in them.
Well, finally, someone's on my side.
That and Jackass.
What, Jackass?
Mainstream documentary.
Oh, yeah.
Jackass is a mainstream documentary.
Yeah. Well, and then there's some also recommendations. Let's see. What is the recommendation here? Well, Super Jaime is from Doug Benson's documentary. That was kind of a takeoff of
that one sucked.
Yeah, I don't think
didn't
that's
like
the same kind of concept, but
it kind of is. But
Paradise Lost is what Andrew says you should watch, Tyler. He says it's way better than anything Morgan ever did.
Okay.
Yeah, so
There's a lot of things that are way better than anything Morgan.
all right. So, anyways, Joseph, what do you got?
What I have? Okay. So I have one kind of Tyler type news story where it's like a story time.
Oh, okay.
The director Alfonso Cuarón, director of Children of Men and Gravity and Roma and Y Tu Mama Tambien, he was confused by being offered to direct the Prisoner of Azkaban, the Harry Potter third movie in the Harry Potter franchise,
One of the best,
and found it really weird. And then Guillermo del Toro called him an arrogant asshole.
I like Guillermo del Toro. I like almost everything he does and says.
Yeah.
He called him an arrogant asshole.
He called him an arrogant
He just said
asshole.
he didn't know what it was about.
So
He's like, why are they contacting me? I'm a filmmaker. This is
Exactly.
a stupid series.
Alfonso Cuarón directed the third movie. Chris Columbus, director of Home Alone, did the first one, Sorcerer's Stone, and Chamber of Secrets. But then Cuarón was offered to direct the third one, which he found was strange because given his track record so far. I was confused because it was completely not on my radar. I speak often with Guillermo del Toro, and a couple of days after I said, they offered me this Harry Potter film, but it's really weird they offer me this. Del Toro then realized what an opportunity the Harry Potter franchise was, so he gave his longtime friend and fellow director some tough love. He said, wait. You said you haven't read Harry Potter? I said, I don't think it's for me. In very florid lexicon in Spanish, he said, you are an arrogant asshole.
Elitist. Cuarón.
Del Toro's words were even more harsh, as Cuarón revealed at the Telluride Film Festival in 2018. Del Toro actually launched into a tirade and said, fucking Skinny, you're such a fucking arrogant bastard. You're going right now to the fucking bookshop and get the books, and you're going to read them, and you call me right away when you're done. When he talks to you like that, well, you have to go to the bookshop, Cuarón admitted. I called Del Toro and said, well, the material is really great. He says, well, you see, it's just untranslatable from the Spanish. And this is the film's 20th anniversary.
Prisoner of Azkaban?
Yes. Nice. Franchise producer David Heyman said he had a hunch that Cuarón was the right person for the job, even if on paper it was a strange choice. This is from the producer. I'd seen Y Tu Mama Tambien, which I loved, and I oddly thought he'd be the perfect director for the third Potter. That's not what some might think. Can you imagine what some thought Harry, Ron, and Hermione would get up to? Y Tu Mama was about the last moments of being a teenager, and Azkaban was about the first moments of being a teenager. I felt he could make the show feel, in a way, more contemporary and just bring his cinematic wizardry.
Ooh, nice wordplay.
So it was a reach. So this producer saw some sort of connection between the style of movie or the story of movie that he made and how that could fit in a essentially children's movie.
Mm-hmm. I think I can see that.
Well, once Azkaban comes to the series, it becomes way darker too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of a turn.
Yeah, I mean,
Towards a more mature
main
audience.
characters are being slaughtered like left and right in the movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Like that fucking person just died. They just wizarded them to death.
Well, it's interesting.
They gave them the old what do they call it?
Avocadavra or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't.
Exactly.
Just like that. Yeah.
That's the one thing I don't like about Harry Potter is like you could just like if you don't like someone, you just do that spell. Like
Yeah, but it's illegal. You can do that with a gun.
it doesn't matter.
It's called murder.
Yeah, but there's like processes that you have to go to get a gun. You're giving a very hormonal child a wand.
That's why they don't teach him the abracadabra.
But
Oh, you-
also,
no,
it-
you could-
but
you could
also,
read it
you don't
until
just
later.
like you don't just
Until
like
later.
you don't just say the word and it happens.
Yeah.
Like them
You have to have hate in your
learning the spells of like doing.
How
the,
does even learning a spell work? Like I thought it was just you point the wand and say the word and
No.
then it just happens.
as shown in the movie when they're learning the Leviosa,
Yeah.
and she's like, it's not Leviosa. It's a very specific enunciation and passion you have to have.
So that's my problem with the way that Voldemort says abracadabra.
yeah, he mumbles them.
Is that he just and then and if you put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable of Leviosa,
yeah,
it doesn't work.
a little contradictory there.
He just mumbles his way through. He's a mumblecore
He's
wizard.
just so powerful
so good.
that he can just have enough feeling.
That's like-
that saying the words enunciating the words doesn't matter.
It's like how Superman flies faster. He just thinks really hard about it.
yeah.
I'm faster now.
Why don't you fly everywhere? Why don't you run everywhere?
That's what I don't
right,
like.
Barry B. Benson.
But yeah, that's what I don't like about Harry Potter. It's just it's.
Oh, that's a Jew. Oh, Tyler says too many gremlins in that, or whatever.
That's where that conversation came from. It stemmed from that. It's him.
You're
like,
right. It is. I totally forgot. It's
It's like I saw those goblins and immediately I thought of a Jewish person.
yeah.
Because it's so obvious. Like, it's
Come
so
on,
it is-
Tyler.
no, it is.
Oh,
it
that's
is-
a Jew.
No, I'm not anti-Semitic or anything like that. I'm just saying.
But
like,
what
you
else
can-
could it be?
That's something someone an anti-Semitic person
you
would say.
literally, you could literally infer like what they were going for.
That was literally like, I'm not racist, but
It's not. I'm racist, but it's.
I'm racist, but also that's a Jew.
I thought it was an offensive. I thought
Offensive
the-
stereotype that you
I thought
agree
that
with?
was- I don't agree with, and you're endangering my life now.
In the chat, Brianna says, "In Hogwarts Legacy, you just crucio everyone without consequence."
yeah, true.
Death.
And you're dead. And you're dead.
Yeah, I think it's funny in that game. There's no like, you could just cast as many spells as you want, and it's literally just kill. Why do any other spell? Just kill.
I mean, that's the same logic that I'm applying to for Harry Potter. You get
I'm talking about the Harry Potter game.
Well, yeah, but in the Harry Potter universe, they're giving these children wands in which they could just read a book about a spell and just be like, "Oh, this is the death spell. You're dead. You're dead."
And you're dead.
And then they try, and then they have like the wizard police. They could just the kid could just
Wizard
say,
police.
"You're dead. You're dead.
Yeah.
You're dead."
All right. Anyways,
But yeah, that's all I have. I mean, are we just going to stream picks or do you have a news story?
no, I just wanted to. Ross was my news story. So,
Okay.
Yeah, I guess let's do some stream picks.
All right,
You ready, Tyler?
I am.
Wanna watch a movie?
Yes, I do.
Disney Plus, oh, HBO Max.
If I don't get the pick, show's over.
I have grown accustomed to Hulu Plus.
Amazon Prime.
I like Netflix.
You found the pick.
Streaming picks, movies that we watch this week on our streaming services that you can watch on yours too. Tyler, what do you got?
So it is the 40th anniversary of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So I decided I want to watch that. Now,
Which one?
The first one,
okay.
the original one.
I don't know if everybody could see this.
Yeah, the
I got a sticker recently.
Yeah.
The newest sticker
It's
to
a-
my
it's a-
water bottle.
yeah, it's a-
TCM sticker.
Yeah, it's a badass sticker. So what makes it what makes the 40th anniversary different from just the original is
The 39th anniversary. What makes it different than last year's anniversary?
Okay, yeah, I guess you could say that. So you threw me off there for a second. So the MPI Media Group presented the original film restored from an all-new 4K scan authorized by director Toby Hooper and featuring a dynamic new 7.1 surround sound mix. Yeah, this was awesome. It was really cool, even through my shitty computer screen, and my headphones are actually really good. So like I could really hear the difference in sound, because when you watch the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's a little grainy, which I appreciate as well. Like but having it restored in 4K and having like the new sound, it was truly an experience. And that's streaming on Freevee. And the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is my favorite slasher film, like of all time. Like I even though I bear the face of Michael Myers on my arm, which I regret to this day, strangely, I get the most compliments on it. I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre is better than Halloween. Just because...
Doesn't take much.
What? What was that?
He says it doesn't take much.
What do you mean?
It doesn't take much because
to be better than
because Halloween's not a great movie.
Okay, well, I don't agree with that, but the reason why I like Texas Chainsaw Massacre more than Halloween is that it feels a lot more passionate as a movie than any other slasher. Just because of if you know the context of the filming conditions, the movie hits a little bit harder. And
I was reading comments.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was like, why
push through, Tyler. Push through.
I'm just saying. Okay, so the 40th anniversary of Texas Chainsaw Massacre is streaming on Freevee. And it is a delight, like Pete would say. It's so cool to see it in this HD and improved sound. Just because, like, when you juxtaposition it from the original film, it's really good. Really, it's just really good.
And do you have any other streaming picks besides that? You can think. Yeah, you can say no. You can also say yes. Just don't lie to this.
I'm sure you didn't letterbox this. Log it.
I did not letterbox Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I should have though, but
you should letterbox everything so you can actually go back and get your thoughts together, kind of cohesive.
I just been so busy. Like
you can do it the second you finish the movie.
No, I mean just as far as going to watch movies, I've just been so busy. So,
but you watched the movie.
I did.
What do you do immediately after the movie? Put your pants on, and then go and come here. And come here.
I like David Rosen's comment. Halloween is iconic and also not good.
Okay, well,
we have a lot of conversation because I know that every time Joseph and I say that Halloween's not a great movie, it triggers a lot of people.
Yeah, it does.
Kevin from Realist Boulder says it's a masterpiece.
Yes.
Andrew from Cult of Cinema says it's iconic and it's very difficult. That's very difficult to achieve. Brianna, Love of My Life, says Halloween Ends is the best film of the series, which I agree with. Number one. And then Joe Bridges says Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre are both horror masterpieces. Don't know why only one can be.
Don't know why only one can be.
I'm sure. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think they both can be. And then David Rosen says exactly that. Halloween is iconic and also not good.
God damn it.
But Texas Chainsaw Massacre is amazing.
Yes, it is. So, I mean,
I think it's possible to be iconic and also not a great movie in retrospect. It's still, I think, second on the Halloween rankings for me. I think that's where it landed when I ranked them. Second, second or maybe third even.
Halloween 1 and Halloween 3 are my favorite Halloween movies.
Halloween 3 is like my third from the bottom. I don't like it.
Okay. Well,
there's some stinkers in that series, but it just, I don't know, that didn't
H2O.
The Tom Atkins as the protagonist, who's basically a rapist. You're like, he lost me.
This guy?
He's out cheating on his wife with a 17-year-old, and he's like 45.
Yeah.
And he's like, I have to save this town with my mustache.
Yeah, that's something that you kind of have to overlook. But
Halloween.
And also, I wanted to mention the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake back from 2003. A lot of people don't like that movie, but
Jessica Biel one, right?
Yeah, the Jessica Biel one. I thought that one was really good too. And
That one was pretty effective.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Yeah. So
for a 11 or 12-year-old me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very, it has the same effect as like a Saw or something where it's just very visceral and like, oh God, I don't want to watch this, but here I am.
When he puts that guy in that hook and then puts the salt on the severed limb wound.
yeah,
That was rough.
That was rough.
And the nails going down the stairwell. Ugh.
And then I watched a 2-letter show that I will not mention.
A 2-letter show?
Yeah. Or no, 2-word show.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
2-letter
show.
2-word show that I won't mention, but other than that.
Watch another show.
Yeah. I have no time in the world, so I'm going to watch this show that I've seen before.
Yeah.
Instead of bringing value to the show.
What are you talking about? I just did.
All right, Joseph, what do you got?
What do I have? Hold on, I made this mistake last week.
Yeah.
Here I am.
Heaven forbid. There we go.
Okay. So I watched a few movies I'm going to talk about. Do you just want to do Furiosa when you talk about it?
Yeah, I watched. Joseph and I both watched Furiosa and also Stop Making Sense.
Oh, you watched the Stop Making Sense?
Yeah, I watched it this morning.
Oh, cool.
I would love to talk about that.
So first of the week, I watched Glengarry Glen Ross.
Oh, hell yeah.
The only scene I've seen from that movie before watching it was the Alec Baldwin pitching the contest.
Greatest opening scene.
And that's the only scene he's in.
Yeah, it's the greatest one scene character too from a movie.
Yeah. And it's essentially like the story of the movie is kind of like a Wolf of Wall Street type storyline where all these like real estate agents are like have a sales contest that only the top 2 will keep their job by the end of it.
Yeah.
If you don't make it to the top 2, you are fired. And the first prize is a car. It's a
Cadillac Eldorado.
Cadillac, and the second prize is a
set of steak knives.
Steak knives.
The third place is you're fired.
I love that.
The good news is you're fired.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck you. That's my name.
I drove down here in an $80,000 BMW. You drove down here in a Hyundai. That's my name.
I made $900,000 in a last year or something like that.
But this is very much like a dialogue heavy movie because it's just a bunch of sales guys making cold calls. Ed Harris, Kevin Spacey, the old man,
Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
No, not De Niro.
No,
Al Pacino.
Alec Baldwin too.
Yeah, you already mentioned that.
Al Pacino is in it.
Kevin Spacey.
Spacey, the late Kevin Spacey.
It was the late. He died. He's not with us anymore.
Dead to me.
Pretty much. And Jack Lemmon, right? He's the older guy. And Jonathan Pryce as well.
I forgot he's in it.
To a lesser degree.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was good. This was a well-written, very entertaining movie for the subject matter that it is. I wasn't sure if I would be too enthralled with it just based on what I knew, but it was well done. The dialogue is really pretty fast-paced when they're in discussion, and there's some like nefarious things that happen to get the leads, like these like golden leads that are being kept away from the salespeople.
Like Glengarry leads,
because they're only for people who close. And the older gentleman, Jack Lemmon, right?
Yeah.
He's probably one of the most charismatic, interesting characters in the whole thing, because there's like a two-sidedness to his character. But yeah, this was released in 1992, and
same year as FernGully.
Same year, it was the year of my birth.
Yeah, the year of my birth as well.
Did you know that Jack Lemmon's character in that is the basis of the character of Gil in The Simpsons?
Oh, really?
Oh, Gil, you did it again, Gil.
Hey, I just wanted to tell you, I almost made a sale.
I almost made a sale. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'll make sure to make one before I come home.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Gil, you got to get yourself into a pickle this time, Gil.
Oh, don't put him on the phone.
At first, he was sympathetic. Like,
hey.
In the beginning, he was like more of a sympathetic character because like he has this kind of backstory of his family, and but then by the end of it, he becomes very unlikable.
Yeah.
And Kevin Spacey basically just tells him, like, when he's kind of begging to keep his job or begging to get the leads, Spacey's like, I don't like you very much.
It's one of the most cutting the movies with the most cutting dialogue to characters.
Yes. They're very very much not they're very much against each other, at each other's throats a little bit in this.
There's number one, Joe Bridges in the chat says he can't wait for Tyler's eulogy of Kevin Spacey, and it'll be oddly loving for some reason.
Yeah. He was a good man.
Yeah, a lot of great things about him.
Yeah.
A lot of great things.
Yeah.
A couple bad, but mostly good.
Just the one thing people latch onto it for some reason.
Yeah. But the other thing is, I'll post on our Facebook page. There's a SNL sketch where Alec Baldwin plays his character from this movie.
Oh, really?
But he's the head elf in a toy workshop.
Oh, yeah.
And he's talking down to all the elves. And he's like, he's basically like, what you doing out here? You making toys? Yeah, that's right. You know, A always B, C closing.
Yeah.
Always be, I think it's like always be tinkering or something like that.
ABT, always be tinkering.
It's really good. It's almost line for line, except for they drop out the F slur.
Yeah. So that's streaming on Netflix.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah.
Super accessible.
This next one is also streaming on Netflix, and it's kind of related to our interview with Ross.
Cool.
Peter John Ross, PJR. This is the anti-social network, Memes to Mayhem. And this is essentially about the creation of Q. And, and how it started. It started from 2chan, which was in Japan, and then it evolved into 4chan and then to 8chan. And essentially how everything that led up to where the world we live in now is part of that is responsible for this whole thing, this social media 4chan, 8chan to then evolve to Q is because of just making jokes on the internet that just evolved into conspiracy theories to then real life consequences of our political reality that we have.
Jokes.
Yeah.
And how it shows some of the creators of 4chan, and they would go to conventions back in the early days, and they would have a panel.
Yeah.
And then all these people, all these young people going to this convention and just being kind of the most unpolitically correct people gathered in a room.
Hateful, yeah.
And obviously what they're doing is hateful. They're playing they're doing the Heil 5 or whatever. They're hailing Hitler. They're doing they're playing the German anthem back in the day. And it's they're just being in bad taste joking. But obviously that turned into and evolved into the Q conspiracies.
Did you ever go on 4chan when you were young and a
No,
teenager?
that was never for me, honestly.
What about you, Pete?
I just discovered it probably way too late.
Oh.
Yeah, I have a family and friends, so I don't go on 4chan.
I guess I'm the only one.
Yeah, and there was they kind of talked about how it kind of led to incel behavior.
Yes.
And what starts as a joke quickly snowballed into the joke of reality that we are currently living in. And it's a really well made documentary. There's really great production and these animated interstitials that are kind of akin to the Spider-Verse type animation. And it's really well done, and it has a bleak sort of ending though. It doesn't make you feel hopeful.
You should also watch Q Into the Storm if you haven't.
I think I might have seen that.
It's a 4-part series. They find supposedly the person who is Q.
Yeah, I think I have seen that.
Yeah, it's a good pairing with this one. I haven't seen this one. It's been on my watch list though.
Yeah, it's very
that's on Max.
Interesting, intriguing, and it was a good watch, entertaining.
Was that on Netflix? You said?
Yeah, Netflix.
Okay, cool.
Next stream pick, streaming on Amazon Prime. I caught up. So Challengers, directed by Luca Guadagnino, is out right now.
Yep.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
His previous work, Bones and All, a movie about cannibal lovers, and
Wow.
it's starring Taylor Ross and Timothée Chalamet as the leads, and Mark Rylance is also plays a character, and is honestly one of the best parts of this movie. I really wasn't sure what to expect of going into this movie, what I knew about it. I knew it was about cannibals, but it's such a weird, unique, twisted romantic story, and they're cannibals.
Okay.
And Mark Rylance is the fucking creepiest guy in that goddamn movie.
Are they affluent cannibals?
No,
Like-
they are not. They're
Okay.
they're it's treated as like a condition and like an unknown like condition,
Like vampires almost.
a little bit. Yeah, that's kind of like how I thought about it as well. The main character, who is played by Taylor Ross, she is being raised by her dad, and he's aware of her condition. There's an incident where she goes
Cannibalism is a condition.
she goes to like a sleepover. She like sneaks out of her house at night and goes to a sleepover, and then she like bites this girl's finger off, and then she runs away, goes home, and the dad's like, you didn't do that. And then they're basically start packing up, and like, we have to escape town before the cops show up.
Right. Yeah.
And that's basically what their life is like.
They just have to keep skipping town because she keeps eating people.
She keeps getting into incidences like that, and she hadn't had something like that happen for a long time, and now this was the first time, because she never goes out and hangs out with anybody by herself. And then they escape town, but then the next morning her dad has left her a note, or left her a tape recording that is played throughout the movie, because she plays it like kind of just interstitially like throughout, and just is a narration from him, and like him explaining like what happened, like the first time that she did it as a baby, and then kind of like his reasoning and why.
Yeah.
And the mom is not in the picture at all. And then she meets up with Mark Rylance's character. I can't remember his name, but he is fucking wacky. He is so creepy.
I like Mark Rylance in general.
He's great, but he's insane. And he is also a cannibal, and he finds her because he can there's like a sense that these cannibals have, that they can like smell each other out. They can like sniff each other out from like a half mile away, and they can tell when the other person hasn't fed in like a while.
Everything about it sounds like vampire lore, except for they're just more played like cannibals.
Yeah, I mean, they are cannibals. And it is also very gross and disgusting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the practical effects are very well done. Yeah, I would recommend this, definitely. I gave it like almost a 5-star review.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, 4.5.
I mean, Luca doesn't seem like he can miss, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for challengers.
Yeah, it's a really solid movie and really well made. Just looks really good. And again, Mark Rylance, fucking like the best part of the movie, even though he's not in it like the whole time. He's great.
He's the best part of a lot of movies that he's in.
Yeah.
Don't Look Up, Ready Player One, this one apparently.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Let's see. Let's go to Stop Making Sense.
Okay.
Stop Making Sense is not a traditional movie. It's a concert movie.
Yeah.
Talking Heads, iconic concert stage production that is essentially being built in the very beginning of the movie. It starts off with just David Byrne and a guitar, and then they slowly add another musician, and a whole, like, they roll in the drum sets, they roll in the keyboards for like each different song. As just like a person who enjoys like live music, it's really enjoyable to watch. I've never gone into Talking Heads as like, I've never like explored their discography too much. I just know Psycho Killer, Burning Down the House.
This Is the Place.
This is the place, or This Must Be the Place.
Yeah, This Must Be the place. This could be the place.
This
could be,
might as well be the place.
Potentially would be the place.
And they could be giants.
It's possible they're giants.
It's possible that there are giants. I think if I was like a bigger fan of Talking Heads and had a little bit more history with their music, I would probably like really, really love this. But just as someone who enjoys like live music and is semi-familiar with their music, it was super entertaining to watch. I was watching the audience though, because the audiences, they have seats from the front row to the back. It's all like seating. I know people are standing up by the end, but I feel like the seats just get in the way.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. The decision for the concert, I guess the venue, to decide to put seats in the pit or leave it open.
Yeah.
It just depends on the type of music, I think, really, and
Yeah.
the crowd. But I feel like the Talking Heads would really appreciate being able to get weird in the pit instead of just sitting around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and watching a young David Byrne, I was like, I know Cillian Murphy just did Oppenheimer as a biopic, but if they were to make
For sure.
him as David Byrne,
He really looked like him, or maybe like David Desmalchian too. Pretty similar.
a little bit, yeah.
But I felt like a cross between the two of them.
Yeah, I think if Cillian Murphy was younger,
Definitely. That ship has sailed a little bit for that.
but yeah, so and that's streaming on
HBO.
Max.
Yeah, Max.
Correct.
I Talking Heads is like one of my top 10 favorite bands of all time. So I'm definitely biased there. But yeah, this is, if you don't like the music, I'm sure you'll probably obviously not enjoy it as nearly as much, but it's directed by Jonathan Demme.
Yeah.
Guy fucking directed Silence of the Lambs, and he directed this concert documentary. And it's a very interesting construction because it is. They're constructing the
set,
the whole stage as the show goes on. It starts with just him on an acoustic guitar doing a stripped down basic version of Psycho Killer, and then his bass player comes out and she starts getting into another song, and then his next song is two people, and you're kind of thinking it feels like a little bit of a waste missing like half of the band through the first couple songs, but it doesn't feel like that at all. It really feels like I've mentioned this before with Whiplash, because Whiplash is a movie I'm very passionate about, and music in general. But at the very beginning of Whiplash, he does the slow percussion hits on the snare drum. 1 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2, and then it goes into a full drum roll. And then in the finale, that's a classic Buddy Rich solo thing. Is he has the big drum roll and he slows it down into individual strikes of the and it's like almost like reminding you that this percussive, loud song, this like emotional connection and vibe of the music that you feel, really stripped down, is just a bunch of people either banging a stick against a drum or strum a bunch of strings. And it's like when you have a 9-piece band that comes together to make something that really hits you, like, Psycho Killer or, whatever it might be. It's like it all is just this fucking guy. And David Byrne specifically is the creative mind behind all that. Just like I can't remember the guy's name, John Lynn from ELO. I can't remember his name.
Oh, yeah.
He's like the creative mastermind behind ELO, Electric Light Orchestra. And David Byrne is the creative mastermind here. And he's just a fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
And the documentary highlights his weirdness. And it's almost like him, like Nathan Fielder and him could be weird blood brothers in a way.
They both wear big suits.
Yeah, I have zero chance that had no inspiration. This had no inspiration on the giant suit that Nathan Fielder wears. So I absolutely love this. It's a 5-star for me.
Yeah, it's great.
But my bias shows because I love Talking Heads.
Yeah, and then I watched the Great Wall, the Matt Damon Great Wall of China movie.
Jeff Lynne, thank you, Joe Bridges.
That was not great at all. Going
What
into it,
compelled you? What compelled you to watch it?
I've heard it was so bad, I had to see for myself.
Dude, what the fuck?
And it wasn't what I was expecting. Going into it, I was like, "There's no way they're trying to pass off Matt Damon as like an Asian person."
Were they?
No, they weren't. he is not supposed to be from China.
It's a real Last Samurai situation.
Surprisingly enough, Pedro Pascal is also in this.
Oh, okay. Is he playing Chinese also?
No, he's a Spaniard.
Oh, okay.
Of course he is.
But yeah, it's like a monster movie. Yeah, I didn't know that. It's like,
oh, really?
It's like a monster movie.
So they did the Noah thing?
Kind of, I guess.
Where they put monsters in a...
Because like, why was the Great Wall of China built? And they like retcon like this, they make it a fantasy like monster movie.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's more like lore. It's like a storytelling of lore or something?
Yeah. It was like some of the stories are true. Some are legend. This is one of the legends. That's what it says in the movie.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that was not great. I wouldn't recommend that.
Interesting. It's directed by Yimou Zhang, who also did Hero, one of my favorites.
Yeah. So you went from Hero to this.
The Great Wall, starring Matt Damon and Tianjin and Willem Dafoe.
Oh yeah, I forgot Willem Dafoe was in it too.
Willem Dafoe is in it.
Why not?
Yeah,
why not?
Just throw him in there. But yeah, not don't watch.
Put Kevin Spacey in there too.
But yeah, and then I watched Furiosa. I don't know if you want to just jump into that.
Let's do it. Let's talk about Furiosa.
Okay, we both watched Furiosa.
Yeah.
Tyler, did you watch Furiosa?
No,
No.
I haven't.
You said you were very excited about it.
Are you going to?
I am. Yes, I am. I'm probably going to see it tomorrow, actually.
Okay. I've heard that before.
Yeah. Please report back. I'm very curious to hear what you think.
I did plan on going to the theater tomorrow.
Because I read Joseph's review on it.
Oh, you did? You read it?
On Letterboxd. Just because I wasn't sure how to interpret your text message. Joseph sent me a text message after the movie was over, because we'll usually text each other if we're going to be watching the same movie and be like, how do you think?
Did you guys go together?
No, separately. Oh. And he just sent me an emoji. It said Furiosa with a face with like the line for the mouth, like a blank face.
Oh, just
yeah, I got blank face.
And I wasn't sure if it was like it was so good it blew me away, or it was really bad and I'm disappointed.
Very cryptic.
And you put
a check mark.
I put a check. I didn't rate it yet because I wanted to think about it, and I was very confused about my feelings when I watched it. Much like college, I was very confused about my feelings about a lot of things, and I got to ruminate on it a little bit, and I think that if it wasn't for the fantastic practical work with the cars and stuff, I'd probably have it about a 4-star. But there really was a lot of things that like dropped my jaw figuratively and literally in the theater when I'm thinking, wow, they just fucked up a lot of great practical effects for this one shot. And when that 15-minute action sequence that we talked about on one of the news stories a couple weeks ago came in, I was just one thing after another was like, that fucking guy's skating on the sand or skating on the rock with his like, because I saw his shoes in the shot prior and I'm like, that's a weird shoe. And then all of a sudden he's like skiing behind the car, and then he pulls a fucking parachute out and starts flying, and you're like, oh my God, they're coming from the sky.
Yeah.
It was like all of that stuff I really, really loved. But there was a lot of parts about the story, and Anya Taylor-Joy felt very much out of place in the character. And there was a lot of stuff in the story that I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. A little bit of overacting in some scenes and some like unnecessary stuff with Chris Hemsworth. I really ultimately loved his character. I enjoyed it a lot, and I thought that it was nice to put a little levity into the series that with Fury Road it got almost no levity whatsoever. I love Fury Road. In my opinion, it's damn near a perfect movie. It's a 5-star banger, 100% every time I watch it. Never loses its fastball.
Yeah.
But the thing that I really liked about Furiosa is that a movie that I love, Fury Road, it took a lot of the stuff that kind of leaves open-ended questions, which I didn't even care about the questions. I was like, I don't need a sequel. I don't need a prequel for this damn movie. It's standalone. It works on its own.
Right.
But the prequel that I got answered so many questions that I didn't know I wanted answered. So I feel like as a prequel, you can shit the bed and lose the vibe of the series in a lot of different ways. George Miller, I think, did exactly what you should do with the sequel, which is answer questions that were popped up from the one that came before it, give you an interesting like origin story, and then also there was a marked change in the character of Furiosa throughout the movie. I'm like, this does not feel like Charlize Theron's Furiosa at all.
No,
it doesn't. She doesn't talk like her. She doesn't act like her. She gives the ridiculous, like when the explosion happens behind her or whatever, and she's against the gate, she like looks directly at the camera and it's got this like supermodel look, like Blue Steel from Zoolander. I'm like, no, I don't like that.
Magnum.
It was Magnum, bro. I didn't like that.
That's it.
But there was a character of Jack, Praetorium Jack, that she becomes like a mentor to her, and he felt more like Furiosa than she did. And I'm watching this character and I'm like, this dude's badass.
Well, I mean,
this dude's fucking badass.
It is supposed to be a prequel, though. So
what I'm saying is that she didn't even seem like the same character from the movies. But then she's introduced to this character Jack, and she spends like the third act with him, and all of that. I was like, this guy's Furiosa. He actually reminded me more of Mel Gibson from the original series, and just this cool, stoic, calm, and collected sort of dude.
Yeah,
and she's something different. After it was all said and done, and I ruminated on it a little bit, I'm like, maybe he rubbed off on her. He imprinted on her near the end of their time together, and then she became the person that she is now. And there's this is not a spoiler, but there's one very small shot on the side of her face at the very last scene of the movie that they use Charlize Theron in.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, and it's not a full-on face shot, but you're like, that's not Anya Taylor-Joy.
Well, then, I mean, you see the brides.
Yeah, and they go in, and it's like, it literally leads right into the next movie, which is Fury Road. It was like a Rogue One, A New Hope situation.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah.
And you know that they probably just pulled the footage from the deleted scenes from Fury Road.
Yeah.
To do because they aren't going to shave Charlize Theron's head for half a scene that you don't even see her face.
Yeah, she probably was
But
like,
you're like,
I'm not doing that.
That's the benefit of George Miller taking his beloved property that he has so much invested in and being able to do cool things with it that no other filmmaker could do because he owns that and he has it probably on a hard drive somewhere.
Yeah.
So I ended up giving it like 4.5 stars. That was really good. I wish that they cranked the volume up a little higher in the theater I was in because I didn't get that full percussive experience.
Interesting. I'm curious as to how loud it was.
It was not loud enough. Like I listened to movies louder at home. You know,
Really?
It was almost like they had no bass, like separate bass in that theater.
All treble, baby.
It was like it was like they had a sound bar in front, but no back like presence.
Oh, okay.
So I'm considering going and seeing it in a Dolby Atmos theater just to get the full experience and to see if it elevates it. So that's my take on it. Give us your take, Joseph.
I did not think this movie was very good.
Really?
I did not like this movie very much. I was pretty underwhelmed. And
did you have high expectations?
Well, coming from Fury Road, yeah, I think had pretty high expectations.
Yeah,
I think that everything that we got from the story of this movie could have been done in a flashback in Fury Road. There's only one thing that I can think of that I thought was intriguing enough to make her amputation more emotionally traumatic.
Oh, that was a good reveal.
Yeah,
that was very good.
And the whole time it was like watching Hot Tub Time Machine, and it's like, oh, is this the part? Is this where it happens?
That's a great point.
Is this where it happens?
They're all like, ah. It's the audience who's waiting for it to happen.
I thought that it was like not very well paced. I thought it was a lot of lulls, especially in the first half of the movie. I think we spent too much time with a very young Furiosa. Like we don't even see
Anya
Taylor-Joy
an hour in or something.
Yeah, we don't see.
Oh my God, really?
It takes a little bit.
Maybe not an hour, but like 45 minutes. Maybe
it felt long, and that's another thing. This movie felt like it was too long.
I could use more.
It was. It was. I was like, they divide it up into like chapters, like chapter markers, and there's like 4 of them. And then when the 4th one showed up, I was like, another one? We're still going. And me and Deanna both didn't enjoy this movie. When we came out of the theater, we felt that it was kind of unnecessary that this movie came out, and both me and Deanna were like, I think that George Miller should take this movie back. I think he should unrelease this movie.
Oh, no.
Because I don't think it does anything to enrich the world of the Wasteland or add anything to Furiosa's character, minus that one thing about her losing her arm and what it means in trying to go back home.
What about her desire to go back home?
I mean, she was more out for vengeance than anything than going back home.
In this movie, but then it sets up the next movie for her ultimate goal.
But I have enough information in Fury Road already for her wanting to go back home. And then if they were to add the information in a flashback, it would make it just that much more impactful. And I don't think that I was like, watching Fury Road, I was like, I could see why they would be making a Furiosa prequel. And like, I was intrigued by the idea of that. But then I watched the movie. I was like, well, Furiosa is actually not that interesting. It turns out that I didn't feel like I needed to know more because I didn't get much. And Chris Hemsworth was good at times. He's definitely over the top.
Yeah.
And the whole revenge mission thing of getting back to him, it felt a little bit odd, like oddly timed and oddly placed within the movie. And by the time they have like a confrontation and it starts to get tense and interesting, the movie's over. So it's kind of like Fury Road was like one long action sequence from beginning to end. And it was captivating. It was like unlike any other action movie that I'd seen. They came out in 2015, I believe. And here we are 9 years later, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah. 9 years since we got that banger.
9 years.
I'm afraid it's been 9 years.
This was like, the action sequences in this were very few and far between.
There was, it's really hard because when you're comparing, it's impossible to not compare it to Fury Road just because it is what leads up to it. But like if you were to compare Fury Road to all the other Mad Maxes, it blew all those out of the water too.
Yeah.
Like I don't really see a whole lot of, besides spawning this universe and obviously letting George Miller develop into the filmmaker that he is today, I don't really particularly care for many of the originals.
Yeah.
And the action is literally wall to wall in Fury Road.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you live up to that? They're making a different movie with it. It's a very story-based movie, and I liked the story.
So that was the question I was going to ask both of you guys. Like, if it wasn't based off of Fury Road, would it stand on its own legs as an okay movie?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
I think it probably would, but
Like if this came out first, and then we had
if
Fury
it
Road
was if it was unrelated to Fury Road
and the Mad Max universe.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I still think it's got great world building. I like the idea. Like, there's some fantastic shots of like a wide helicopter shot of this marauding motorcycle gang driving through the wilderness of, the outback. And Chris Hemsworth, Dr. Dementis's chariot. He's got one motorcycle in the front and then two behind it, like horses, and he's on a drawn carriage, like a gladiator.
Yeah.
What do they call that? I can't remember what they call it now. There's a specific name for it. A chariot. Yeah, a chariot.
Yeah, you just said it.
A stand-up chariot. But there's a lot of very amazing visuals here.
No, there is definitely. And when I remembered the 15-minute action sequence going to the movie, but when I was watching the movie, I was like, "Is this it? Is this the one?"
I know you already said it was going to get in your craw, waiting for it.
But then and it was over. I was like, "Did we see the 15-minute action sequence?"
That was it.
That was it.
It was like one thing after another. Now there's another vehicle. Now they throw in the spinning ass catcher or whatever.
It felt like all of the sequences were just were based around the war rig. But we already got a bunch of those in Fury Road.
Yeah, I think that some of them were less effective, the action sequences, than the stuff in Fury Road. But again, if I'm grading this just on its own for what it gave to me, like if it enriched me or not, and I was thoroughly entertained.
I definitely think that the Mad Max movies, especially now, don't take themselves very seriously at all. And
did they ever?
I know. Talking about like the levity of it, there's definitely levity within Fury Road because of the characters and how they're designed. Whereas this one, it feels like it's trying an attempt at attempting to be goofy or comedy or comedic,
like maybe
as opposed to like just like look at this character. There's no mention that he has his nipples cut out and like pierced and. But they bring attention to it in this. I'm like, I already knew that was there.
It's almost like shoving your face in the joke.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
And then Chris Hemsworth was goofy and fun. And it looked like he was having fun in that role. But he just felt like he was being goofy for the sake of being goofy.
Yeah, I feel like once they realized who he was embodying in the character, they leaned into it a little bit more. And just, it's almost like when you have like an Adam McKay movie, any of those sort of comedies where they improv a lot of stuff and take 10, 15 different takes. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of that happened here when they were making this and kept some of the more ridiculous takes for his character, because he really was, and a lot of times I was kind of confused about like the electrical clamps on the nipples and the bomb going off and what all that meant and kind of stuff.
Why were his nipples attached?
It was just a little confusing. I mean, again, I don't have to understand all of it, but there's enough here where it's like I feel like I'm nitpicking when I talk about those things.
Yeah.
They clearly affected you on a ground floor level of your enjoyment of the movie, and that's fine. It is what it is.
I'll just say like Fury Road felt like mostly one long road trip action sequence, and it was like relentless. And we have a lot more like interesting characters like. Nicholas Holt's Warboy character. You have Max, obviously, Furiosa, and then you have the brides or whatever they're called, the wives. All of that like adds up to a very kind of compelling, and there's a lot of stakes there.
Yeah,
this one didn't feel like there was too many stakes, and it felt like this was like out of gas from the get go. And then when we finally hit the reserves and start really driving, only to realize the journey is now over. And we spent most of the trip stalling and pushing the car.
Very, very, very on the nose analogy.
Yes, thank you.
I love it. David Wangberg is pissed.
But yeah, it was. I'm actually I feel like I'm actively liking it less and less.
All right.
The It was just so disappointing.
I'm actively liking it less.
And that's why I think
less.
George Miller should unrelease this, because for me, this is just for me. It's like it's like this. It's like a stain. It's like tarnishing the Fury Road 5 out of 5 masterpiece action movie.
Bullshit! Art!
It's kind of like when Prometheus came out. The whole.
You didn't like Prometheus?
I like Prometheus, but what I'm saying is like the whole charm and like of Alien is that we don't know where this alien came from.
Right.
That's part of the mystery of the horrorness of it. I didn't need to know everything.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't need to know everything about everything.
How dare you?
No, and I feel
For a movie like this.
and I feel like I didn't give a fuck if I had a prequel or not. But what I got, I was like, there's like a 59 Ranchero converted into a war boy rig. There's Ed's an old like late 50s, early 60s Valiant. There's all kinds of very fun. I think they at one point they have him having an Edsel converted. There's his war rig. He's a 6-wheeled, 3-axled monster truck that's built out of a Mack truck. There's that's Dementis's, and it's like the shit that they're doing in here. He just drives over stuff, goes straight up the hill in this monster truck, and you're like, they're really doing that to some degree.
Yeah.
You know, not one for one, but they're really doing all this stuff. And, you know, hats off to 79-year-old George Miller for still making weird shit in the Australian outback.
Into the desert.
Yeah. I can't wait to watch it at home with the volume at the proper level, which is deafening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'll have to watch it again on a smaller screen to, I don't know, maybe focus more on certain things. But yeah, it didn't leave much of an impression on me coming out.
Well, the rare negative review that I haven't really seen a whole lot of, which
I'm only doing this because I'm sad.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm sad that it's not good.
I was excited when I saw your 2.5-star review for it on Letterboxd, because I was like, well, this is at least going to be a fun conversation.
Yeah.
And for the most part, we align pretty well, you and I, on a lot of stuff. But
I don't know. It's just
I
I don't want to not like it. I wanted to like it.
Yeah.
But it's got to be good.
Yeah, the heart wants what the heart wants. Joe Bridges says that expectations are the thief of joy.
I thought that was comparison.
Oh my God, what a philosophical statement that he just
I'm pretty
said.
sure it's comparison is the thief of joy.
It could be both. They both. There's joy thieves
I
all
guess
over the place.
if I'm comparing Fury Road and Furiosa, then yeah, I guess that would still apply.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. All right, I will make my segment quick, because we've had a nice long show. First off, before I get into actual streaming picks, Tyler, you called Nobody, the Bob Odenkirk movie, Mr. Nobody, a while back.
Oh yeah, I did.
And I took you to task. I laughed in your face about it.
Yeah.
Turns out that's the name of the Japanese title when they released it, Mr. Nobody.
That's another movie though. That's
so I was right.
That's another real movie.
That's a Mr. Nobody is the
Jared Leto
movie. Yeah. Alternate reality movie. But yeah, on Letterboxd, if you're like a pro Patreon, you can change the poster when you log it. You can change it to multiple alternative posters.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have like 10, 15, 20 options or whatever for some titles. And one of my friends logged it and it said Mr. and it had some Japanese writing in it, and it was Bob Odenkirk's face. I'm like, what movie is this? And I clicked on it. I'm like, Mr. Nobody in Japan. Tyler was right. So unknowingly, he fell ass backwards into correctness. Okay, so I did not watch a ton of stuff this week. I watched Social Media Monster, which we talked about already. Highly recommend when it comes out in a week. I watched FernGully for the show. I will talk about that later. I watched Stop Making Sense on HBO Max, which we just talked about as well. I watched Fury Road, which I guess it looks like I didn't even log it, but I need to. So the one that I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about is I've returned back to my old school kung fu movies.
Oh, okay.
You and I,
Back on my bullshit.
Yeah, you and I watched it with the girls last week after the episode. Tyler took off, and we were like, "What are we going to watch? We'll put on a."
Oh yeah, where are your parents now? Are they home?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
First week in like a month. They've spent the weekend at home. But we watched Dirty Ho together.
Dirty Ho.
Dirty Ho is the name of the movie, and that was interesting. I didn't love it, but I think the choreography of the fight choreography was really good. It's from 1979, also a Shaw Brothers movie, and it's streaming on Arrow Video and a couple other places you can find. It's interesting because it's played for laughs a lot more. It's more like feels more like evolving into the Jackie Chan era of like Hong Kong cinema.
Oh yeah.
And this is also starring Wang Yu and Gordon Liu. I think I'll just shorten his name to Gordon Liu. That's kind of how he goes in America. And this one is basically about like one of the sons of an emperor, one of like 14 sons of an emperor or something like that, that doesn't want to take the emperorship, and his dad is going to pass it down, and he's just kind of like enjoying art and drinking wine and all this stuff. And there's assassins out to kill him, so he's not basically he doesn't get the throne, even though he doesn't want it.
Okay.
And throughout the entire thing, he's trying to basically not let everybody know he's a kung fu master. So he's secretly fighting people, and he's using he has like a servant woman, and he tells somebody at one scene that, oh, this is my bodyguard, I hired her. And he's standing behind her like she's a human shield, but he's using her arms and hands to fight this guy. And at one point, there's a weapon involved, and she's like manipulating the weapon, but he's like punching and kicking her backs of her arms to make her do things. And it's like all that choreography was really good, but the movie itself was a little too goofy for me.
Definitely a comedy.
Yeah, it was for sure a comedy, which you don't.
Not a good introductory if you're trying to get into martial arts movies.
No. So after you guys left, and so that's Dirty Ho.
Dirty Ho.
Yeah, H.O. is Master Ho is the guy's name. And after you left, I watched the next movie on that same disc from the Run Run Shaw produced movie, and it's called Heroes of the East, 1978. This is, of the 4 so far that I've gone back and rewatched or watched for the first time, Heroes of the East is by far the most comprehensive in the fight choreography. It's more interesting in the story. It's more interesting of the characters. And this one is actually, it's a little bit of a history lesson on the difference between Chinese and Japanese weapons and fighting styles. So in this movie, Gordon Liu again is the main character, and I watched some of his stuff from 1968, 1969. He was good back then. Now here we are, 1978, 1979 of these movies. He is leveled up big time.
Oh,
big time. So, in the scene in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon where it's Michelle Yeoh and Jiang Jiji that are fighting each other, and they're having the multiple weapons fight.
Yeah.
There's like 10 different weapons they cycle through during the course of the fight.
Yeah.
This movie does that spread out across the entire movie. Oh. So basically, Gordon Liu's character, he is also like a son of some like ambassador, some kind of royalty sort of thing.
Yeah.
And he has an arranged marriage, but it's to a Japanese woman that he was friends with as a young kid. They get married. Turns out she's a Japanese martial arts expert, and she's practicing in the backyard. And everyone's like, "What are you doing? This,
what is this?
Chinese kung fu is way better than Japanese, judo and karate and all this stuff, and ninjutsu." And she basically brings in a bunch of her Japanese historical weapons into their like training room. And the husband and the wife, who are both accomplished fighters, are arguing over which one's better, Japanese weapons or Chinese weapons. And it's this weird kind of like history lesson that you don't have a definitive answer, because she says that the weapons, there's a similar comparison. There's like a stick with a knife on the end of it that's Chinese, and it's a stick with a knife on the end of it that's just Japanese. They call it a different name, and they're used slightly different in the context of this like fighting style. But he's giving her history lesson about it, and we as the audience are listening along and getting the same lesson.
Yeah.
So in those kung fu movies where it has the long pole with a big knife on the end of it, and it's got a red hanging, hairy sort of thing, right?
Yeah, it has the like flag or whatever.
Yeah, it's like a hairy beard hanging on it. It's just swinging around. Well, I didn't know really what that was, but he calls it a blood screen, and he says that what you do is you spin it around like you see sometimes, and you put it right in front of your victim's face, your opponent's face, and it shields their vision so that they can't see what's the next attack is happening.
Okay.
And at the same time, he does it to her in battle after he teaches her, and he says you can also catch your opponent's weapon. So she's fighting him with the long stick, and he wraps it up with that blood shield and makes it so she can't fight him anymore. And he pulls her closer to him, and then was able to do some up close handwork with her. And you're like,
oh, handwork.
Yeah, you're like, damn, this is actually really interesting and informative. So the long story of this story is that they have its lovers quarrel about it. They can't come to any resolution, and she kind of runs back to Japan to see her dad and visit some friends and stuff. But basically, he's just like, fuck my husband. This guy's an asshole. He's being mean about all this stuff. And he sends to try to get her to go back, he sends her a letter saying, I challenge you to a fight. And he says, I know that she can't resist it, so she's going to come back. She's going to answer the call and come back home. Instead of her getting the message, this like karate master that she's friends with, who's like the greatest martial artist in Japan, gets the letter. And he says, how dare he fight his wife? How dare he fight this woman? We're going to send 7 of our like best fighting champions of all these different martial art styles to fight him.
Oh my God.
And that's basically what the rest of the movie is. After the first act is the setup, and the last 2 acts is like him fighting 7 different martial arts styles in 7 days. They're like, we're only going to fight you one at a time because we have honor. One of them's a samurai. One of them's a ninja. Yeah. It's like, deceptive, like poison darts and shit that's being thrown at him. Dummies and like, costumes and like smoke bombs and stuff.
Sounds like a dynamite movie.
It's really good. I mean, this is like as comprehensive as you can get when it comes to like actual like fight arts. So it's a 4.5-star movie. It's available on Mubi and also Arrow Video. You can also rent it for $3 on Amazon Prime or YouTube.
Movie.
If you're looking to get it, if you heard kind of the conversation I had last week, and then this week about the these old kung fu movies, and you're like, well, I don't want to sit through some shitty movie. Watch Heroes of the East, 1978. All this is in the show notes as usual, but just go on YouTube and rent it if you don't have Arrow Video service, which very few people actually do. And if you're going to get into it, like I said, it's a history lesson, but it is a absolute like 90 minutes of exhibition of impressive fight after impressive fight after impressive fight.
Yeah.
And it really is a dynamite movie. So that's Heroes of the East, 1978. Watch it if you want.
Before we go or take a break, Andrew said, you dislike this Furiosa and like Thunderdome. He's talking to me. You need to revisit and have nostalgia crush. First of all, where did I ever say that?
I don't think anybody said you like the original.
When did I ever say that? I have seen Thunderdome. I have not seen it since I was a child.
Oh, okay.
I remember enjoying it as a child.
Yeah.
But I have not seen it in, I don't know how long, 15, 20 years.
I think I watched number 2 last year, and it was like...
They're kind of slow.
Yeah.
The first 2. But yeah, whatever.
The overcranked high frame rate sort of like fast motion is really distracting.
Yeah, I agree.
That's how I felt about Furiosa.
It's visible in Fury Road a little bit in a couple of key moments, but not distracting. In Furiosa, it's used
quite a bit. Very
yeah.
jolty.
Yeah,
jolty, and that's another thing that bothered me about it.
What's his name? Rectus and
Scrotus. Why the
Scrotus.
fuck would you introduce a character and then we don't see anything that happens to him because he's not in Fury Road?
He's Beavis and Butthead. They're basically like Eric Trump and Donald Jr.
But why introduce him? He's not in the next one.
Because the character of Rectus, the actor, just doesn't have the chops. Also, they introduced the fact that he's a pedophile, and they never pay that off.
Oh,
yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. There's a lot of weird ties and like lingering.
The guy's name is Scrotus.
He looks like Beavis.
He looked like Mikey Day as Beavis.
Yeah.
Or Butthead. But I was like waiting for him to not be here anymore.
Okay. Anyways, anything else, fellas?
No.
Okay. If you're on the YouTube live, please hang out for another like 15 minutes. We're going to take a break, empty our bowels.
If you're interested in watching our review of FernGully.
Yeah. Yes. So we've already shit on, Joseph at least has, Furiosa.
Yes.
And I've shit on the good name of Halloween.
Yes.
And me.
And, that's par for the course. How are we going to take this Patreon pick, which is FernGully from 1992?
That will
the
be
inspiration for Avatar.
Yeah, we will talk about that in a little bit. So just stay tuned. We're gonna go take a 15-minute break, and we'll be right back.
Real spoiler says Tyler's the only one we can trust now.
I love it.
What world are we living in?
It's a topsy-turvy world.
It really is.
So thank you to the cool ass yard duties on Patreon. That's Javier, Heather Sachs, Ryan Corbin, and Chris. If you want to join us on the Patreon, hit us up, patreon.com/middleclassfilmclass. $5 gets you on the wheel rotation. Until next time. Thank you to Peter John Ross, the director of Social Media Monster, for joining us. And thank you to all of you for listening. Follow us later on in the week or in a few minutes as we review FernGully, a Patreon pick from the Wheel of Destiny from listener MacKenzie. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MCFC podcast, and send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com.
And follow, sorry, and follow us. I was waiting. I don't know.
5 years.
I was. I don't know
years.
why I was waiting for Joseph to lead us off on that. But please follow us on Instagram at Middle Class Film Class, and please leave us a voicemail at 209-730-6010.
Follow us on Twitter at Podcast FTC and Telegram Middle Class Film Class. Bye.
Very good. Bye.
Time for class.
Class is in session!
Roll call. Bueller.
I'm gonna be late for class.
Bueller.
Am I hallucinating here? Just what in the hell do you think you're doing?
I'm late for class.
You're mine now. You belong to me.
Did you study for the test?
No more complaining. No more Mr. Kim left to go to the bathroom. Nothing. There is no bathroom.
Welcome to Middle Class Film Class. I am your host for today, Pete.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Joseph.
And on today's review episode, we are reviewing a pick from the Patreon list. This is FernGully, The Last Rainforest.
Shout Factory for kids.
Deep in the heart of the forest, there is a magical world where wondrous creatures play the day away.
Cassowaries, kangaroos.
Red light again. Where an unusual girl named Krista dreamt of faraway places.
I thought it was Crystal.
I think it's Krista.
It's Krista.
Yeah.
Ignored the warnings of her friends. Krista, stop! And flew where no one had flown before. There, she made a huge discovery.
John Smith. I mean,
some fucking guy from the valley.
You shrank me?
Yeah.
Catches on quick, doesn't it?
Are you really a human?
I'm Zach.
The most human name around.
I'm Kyle.
Don't you think you're a little old to believe in human tails?
Humans don't have tails. They have big, big bottoms that they wear with bad shorts.
Zach is rocking.
How does he know what shorts are? That's Sinbad.
It's Tone Loc. Tone Loc lizard.
Hanging 10 on a falling leaf.
Cowabunga.
And swinging around with a bat who's totally batty.
That's his name, get it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can see it's a miracle.
But with Zach came other humans.
You see Zach anywhere?
No, he probably cut out early.
Who accidentally released an evil force named Hexus.
They're just explaining the whole movie.
Now, to get back to his world, Zach must help Krista find the courage.
This is a long trailer for this movie.
It's half the length of the movie.
I know.
Movie's hour is 16 minutes.
All right, Gummy. We're going to war.
20th Century Fox invites you to witness the wonder, the music,
Witness me.
the adventure of a place worlds away from anything you've ever seen. FernGully.
Oh, and that's it.
It's technically FernGully.
FernGully.
It's
FernGully.
FernGully, also known as FernGully, The Last Rainforest from 1992. This is a directorial debut by Bill Croyer, written by Jim Cox and Diana Young, starring Samantha Mathis as Krista, Christian Slater as Pips, Robin Williams as Batty Coda, Tim Curry as Hexus, Jonathan Ward, the kid from Mac and Me, as Zach, Grace Zabriskie as Maggie Loon. Did I get that right?
I think Magi, or is it Magi? I think it's Magi.
No,
Maggie.
it's Maggie.
Yeah, it's the worst pronunciation of that. Jeffrey Blake as Ralph, Robert Pastorelli as Tony, Cheech and Chong as Stump and Root, Tone Loc as the Lizard, Townsend Coleman as Noddy, and the list goes on. So this was a Patreon pick chosen by Tyler's Blood.
Yeah, my sister, MacKenzie Minor.
That's right. And
Wonder if she's listening right now.
I don't know. Maybe,
Listening / watching.
yeah, maybe not on the YouTube live. We don't have many people in the in the chat right now, but maybe on the podcast.
I wonder
stream
what they
later.
think about FernGully. I
Yeah.
want to watch.
Yeah, let's go FernGully. But yeah, so this has been on the wheel for a little bit, and the Patreon selection, basically the way it works is if you're a $5 Patreon and up, you get in the rotation for the Wheel of Destiny, and we have 2 slots for Patreon members.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's quick, sometimes they come back to back, sometimes you gotta wait a little bit. I think the next one on the wheel after this is Jack's pick, Jack Fitzpatrick. So anyways, FernGully, 1992, kids movie from birth of your year of birth, right?
Yeah,
Both
92.
1992.
Both you two youngsters were born in 92.
When movies started being good.
maybe 93. That's when Jurassic Park came out, right? So anyways, this is going to be a fun watch. Tyler, do you want to read the thing from MacKenzie, or do you want me to read it?
Yeah, so I reached out to my
I think you guys
sister.
should read it together.
Yeah, let's do it. Just try to synchronize it. You want to synchronize it?
No, we're not going to do that. No. But I did reach out to my sister to have her give her thoughts on it, why she picked it and whatnot. So she said, sorry, I had to rewatch it. I picked FernGully because it is...
Wait a second. That part is probably just the beginning of your guys's... The first message after your long conversation, right?
No,
why did she say sorry? I had to rewatch it.
I don't know, because she was apologetic that she had to rewatch it, and she didn't get back to me promptly.
That's why she's apologizing for leaving you unread for a while.
Yeah. Well,
you don't need to leave. You don't need to leave that part of the conversation.
All right, fine.
Tyler, editing on the fly is not Tyler's strong suit. Okay, continue.
I picked FernGully because it is one of my favorite movies from when I was a kid that I think is still watchable as an adult. The animation is super good. The voice acting is excellent, even with star-studded cast: Tim Curry, Robin Williams, Cheech Chong, Christian Slater.
Way to call out your sister for a basic typo.
Hey, I mean, we're cut from the same cloth. What did you get? Anyways,
don't say that. That's an insult.
It doesn't feel like Chris Pratt and Mario just being Chris Pratt, for example. The anti-pollution and deforestation message is also something I appreciate about it. Kids' movies with a purpose. All in all, it's an enjoyable watch. Even the songs are kind of bops. Candidly, the plot is predictable and nothing new or special, but the previously mentioned animation and voice acting make it underrated, in my opinion. Well, thank you for reaching out to me, MacKenzie.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're
doing it now.
We're going to go into it now.
We're going to go into it now.
And Tyler, you're going to lead us off. What's your relationship to FernGully?
Well, I only saw this movie once, and I think what really sticks with the movie for myself is the name. Like, it's a very unforgettable name, FernGully. Like, you'll remember that movie.
It's a gully full of ferns.
Yeah. I did write a letterbox review on it, so...
Oh, hello. Come along, won't you? As Tyler reads his own letterboxed reviews. This is me, myself, and Tyler.
All right, you have your ready to go. This will be a seamless transition. No hiccups, no bumps in the road.
No.
Great production. Ready?
Yes.
And
so
go.
It goes. Yeah, it goes like this. I gave this movie a 3-star rating. This movie felt like a movie where parents would put it on so they could have an hour and some change to either get busy or have a couple of NyQuils.
Get busy. Couple of NyQuils.
Yeah. The animation felt lush. The story is simple, and the movie was tight storytelling-wise. Although I wouldn't revisit this movie, it was just okay. Not a bad thing, and I would show this to my own kid. But why did I say that? But on a rewatch,
who wrote this?
But yeah, I don't know what I was saying at that last part. Anyways, grade B-, end of report.
Oh, a very short, tight review.
I don't know.
3 stars, B-.
I think I was still loopy from my lack of sleep last night.
Oh, you wrote that this morning.
Yeah.
What were you doing last night?
Don't worry about it.
The listeners want to know.
I was living life.
Why are you not prepared for the show?
I was out spitting wisecracks at bros talking about Pulp Fiction.
Oh, I forgot. I forgot about the dynamite story you told in the Gab Chatter.
That was a funny story.
Okay.
It was the funniest thing you've ever heard in your life.
No, I won't say that. But no, I was very proud to have it right off the cuff right there. It was a light bulb.
Light bulb, you get it?
Yeah.
It's very literal.
Because it's a light.
Yeah. Great.
So 3 stars, B-.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like this movie, it has a star-studded cast. The animation is really well done. It makes you feel like you are in an actual. Well, I shouldn't say you're an actual rainforest. It definitely gives off the air of an actual rainforest being presented to you, maybe through a child's eye. And I still stand by my statement that this movie feels like you put your kids in front of, and then mom and dad they go
get busy.
Yeah, they're just like, okay, we got an hour and 16 minutes right now. Let's make it worth it.
Yeah,
hour and 16 minutes. So what are we gonna do with the other hour and 14?
Well, we did that, so we got all this time. Maybe we can watch FernGully.
But I thought But the story is so goddamn simple. It's hard to like knock it because it leans into like what it's presenting to the audience. There's no like really ambiguous sort of like plot lines or plot holes.
These people good. This person bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's essential, and I think you were saying it was the inspiration for Avatar, and it's. I
don't know if it's necessarily an inspiration, but the story beats of Pocahontas and Avatar and FernGully are all very similar. Yeah. Outsider comes into the nature universe, the tribe of people who are connected with nature. They didn't respect nature before, and then they are unlocked through her connection to now be respectful of nature.
The villain design was really awesome. I really enjoyed the
Hexus.
Hexus. And I thought what I thought was a little bit inappropriate was Krista's whole outfit.
I'm surprised you're saying that you didn't like it. I figured you would have had your weighing out for this whole thing.
Oh well, no. I'm saying I liked it. I'm not saying I don't like. I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just saying. But for a children's movie, like it just, I don't know. And you know that
I'm about to have the hardest boner right now.
You know, when Zach and Krista, they were. He was nailing her.
Oh my god! So where's the line? I mean, because you on the show you are stick to your guns that Lola Bunny's sexualization is necessary. You said this. You said there's nothing wrong with a little sexualization in a kids movie.
Yeah, well, I guess in my advancing age, I'm kind of like sympathizing with like the parents are like, there's too much sex in this movie.
Are you mental?
She's just throwing it out there though in that outfit.
Oh, she was.
What you saying though is that you should just see it? Did you see how she was dressed?
I thought it was. I mean, I thought it was a little bit. I mean, like if we're gonna do a compare and contrast with Lolo Rabbit and Krista, like she has like that hiked up like dress, like cheeks barely.
It's a leaf.
Cheeks barely showing.
What do you want? It's a leaf.
Well, I mean, you
know,
know,
make a burqa out of it.
Yeah, why not? But Lolo Rabbit, she's just in a basketball uniform, so
that's true.
But anyways, overall, I think this was a blast from the past because I hadn't seen this movie since I was a child.
How old do you think you were when you saw it the one time?
Oh God! Like I had to have been like 6 years old.
6 or so.
Yeah, 6 or 7 years old.
Seems like a good age.
But strangely, I remembered every single scene from the movie. Like I remembered the songs. Like it all like came back to me. I was like, holy shit! I do remember watching this movie.
They say that music ties strongly into recollection of memory.
Yeah.
You get those like what's it called? Alzheimer's patients that can't basically remember their name.
They use music,
but they use music to unlock their like memory and stuff.
Interesting. But anyways,
it cracked through the mono veil and got through to your this history of FernGully.
Anyways, I thought it was okay. I didn't have a bad time. I thought it was okay.
All right, Joseph.
Pretty similar to Tyler, honestly. Like it delivered the message, and it portrayed it or presented it in a way that a child could digest the information. Maybe not like the significance of, I guess, how it ties into reality, but like to at least plant the seed of like this thing that's happening is not good.
It's bad for the environment.
And there's this physical creature thing that represents the evil part of everything and why they're on this side. And then the fairies are who live in this Last Rainforest, supposedly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Supposedly.
I assume it's
dubious.
It doesn't really ever say where it is. I assume it's the Amazon.
I have a bit about that.
But yeah, I mean, it was like I've never seen this before. I've only heard of it, and the only reason I ever heard of it was because of Deanna. Because whenever Avatar was brought up, she was like, "That's just FernGully," and she also has only seen this movie once before. So it's not a movie that was like present in my childhood. I was more of a Fantasia kid.
Fantasia's dope.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Also kind of scary, honestly.
Night on Wall Mountain. The original Fantasia or Fantasia 2000?
Original.
Oh, okay.
With the fucking devil
yeah,
comes out of that mountain.
That's Night on Wall Mountain.
Yeah, that is a badass.
Great song in general, but that bit's great.
But yeah, I didn't like it. It like did its job. Like the movie delivered the message and it made it digestible for everybody, I think. So it's hard to like criticize it on any real level. I guess the only way I can criticize it is that like I probably wouldn't watch this again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like very middle of the road in terms of like polarizing or controversial, or it's very just like very tame in its story. And Robin Williams did this and Aladdin the same year.
Yeah,
At least they both released the same year.
This was his first foray into voicing animation, and I don't think anybody really even thinks about this baddie, the character baddie, when they're thinking about Robin Williams voicing, because Genie was just a home run.
Yeah, it was just like elevated version of that type of character, that zany, wild.
And I'm pretty
character.
sure they like upped his like voice pitch with Batty too, because I didn't
catch that.
Well, so like I didn't know Robin Williams voiced that character, but it reminded me of Robin Williams. So knowing that now, I was.
So you didn't realize it was Robin Williams throughout the entire runtime when you watched it?
No. I was thinking, I was like, man, that guy sounds like Robin Williams.
Oh my god,
go figure.
It is Robin
Noted
Williams.
voice actor Robin Williams. Couldn't be him.
There's no way he would do something like that.
I know. Batty, isn't he Genie?
Yeah.
Nah, you can't do more than
No,
one
but
role.
I think they upped his like pitch and voice because
Maybe.
Robin Williams has like a little bit more of a deeper voice. Like when he plays Genie in Aladdin, it sounds like Robin Williams, but Batty like
It sounds like it could be Robin Williams.
It could be.
like they're related or something.
Huh, interesting.
All right, cool.
But yeah, it didn't really do much, I guess. That's all I can say about it, really.
All right.
Sorry, MacKenzie.
Okay, yeah, so...
There's no nostalgia factor.
Yeah, so FernGully for me, I have never seen this movie. I don't... I thought in my head I remember scenes of it, but I think I just know of the characters from like just the zeitgeist of it and knowing that people compare it. And I know the story plot of it. I just didn't realize that it was... they shrink him down into the size of a fairy. You know, I've seen clips of it at best, and that's it. Because I'm watching it and I'm thinking... They wasted so much gold with Robin Williams with the character Batty. Like he didn't move the needle for me at all.
Yeah.
He was like trying to be a character that didn't connect to anything else. You know, it was like this weird experimented bat that was, you know, it kept kind of channeling the humans that were torturing him prior in his life.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a really interesting idea. But they did nothing with that. And there were moments in the movie where you're thinking, no, it's a kid's movie. They don't want to spend too much time talking about vivisection of bats and experimenting on live animals for products or whatever.
Right.
But the movie does a very good job of presenting a very frightening villain to children. The time when Hexus goes into the big logging machine and he's scrappling himself up. He's got like an Uncle Frank moment where he builds this like smog skeleton, pulls himself out of the muck.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I'm like, God damn, this dude is like, he's a no joke villain.
Yeah.
Little confined, you know, to the smog and the pollution or whatever. But, you know, so I felt like Batty was wasted. And in the, you know, I was looking through some of the trivia for it, and Robin Williams had, let's see, how long was it? I want to say it was something like 20 hours of improvisation. 14 hours of improvisation lines for the part, which they recorded.
Wow.
And it basically boiled down to about 8 minutes of screen time.
Jeez.
And it still felt like a wasted opportunity, in my opinion. So the other thing that I noticed about this is it's really hard to compare animation of that era, to not compare it to Disney stuff, because that's the golden era of Disney animation.
Yeah.
Aladdin and The Little Mermaid are like perfect examples, and they're like absolute 5-star, 100% classic movies. And this falls very far short of all that.
Sure.
I think that there's some interesting techniques that were used in it, kind of like a CGI animation, like computer graphics laid on top of hand-drawn animation. But as much care and detail that goes into something like a Ralph Bakshi movie, I feel like this animation is a little bit more pleasing to the eye than a Bakshi movie, but doesn't have as much attention to detail and care into the detail.
Right.
So
yeah.
it looks better. Each cell looks a little bit better than a Bakshi movie and less like terrifying.
Yeah.
It looks more friendly to a child's eye.
Yes.
But it doesn't go into the deep scale of something like, Akira.
Right.
Which
yeah.
is unbelievably detailed, or
Yeah.
Bakshi, which has some really lush backgrounds that are super intricate and really put you into place. It's kind of like, it almost looks like a lot of the scenes, they're kind of zooming through the rainforest, look almost like a watercolor background that just kind of gets skimmed over.
Or like a Miyazaki movie too. Like,
as far as detail goes?
Yeah,
correct. And all that stuff is like, it's hard to not compare them one to the other. But the thing about FernGully is that it was a fully independent production. It was not done under the studio system or anything. It had a $24 million budget, which is
Really?
a lot. Yeah, a lot for an indie movie.
Yeah.
But most of that went into the animation and then the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Which
I assume
was
also maybe the cast.
Yeah, I would imagine probably some of that too. But it was the
Tommy Chong's got a high bill.
Alan Silvestri did most of the music. He's a famous composer. He did Back to the Future and a billion other, it's Back to the Future. I'm pretty sure Back to the Future.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Alan Silvestri. He has a really long pedigree of soundtracks and whatnot, and so he's got a big cost. Some of the music was pretty good, but a day later, I watched this last night. I don't remember much of the songs.
Yeah, they weren't very memorable.
The lyrics felt like they were kind of forced into rhyming, and it didn't, like, the rhyme was more important than the actual message is being vocalized. So there's a lot of this that left me very disappointed. But
sorry,
do I need to take away your fiddlesticks over there?
No.
No.
I thought you were just throwing pens in the last segment.
Sorry.
How many times did you drop your pen last segment?
2.
You counted.
Yeah, I counted 2. And he's still spinning it.
I'm not.
Yeah, Alan Silvestri's done a lot.
My hands are free.
Give us some of the highlights.
He's done Lilo and Stitch. He did some of the Avengers movies. He did Predators. He did Bridesmaids. Most recently, he did Still, the Michael J. Fox documentary.
Probably because of the connection to
Back to the
Future. Yeah.
He did Prey. Did Doctor Strange.
God damn.
Top Gear. He's done Loki, Black Widow, WandaVision.
This man never stops working.
A lot of stuff.
He's like a
Mac and Me.
Well, there you go. That's how they got the kid from Mac and Me in this.
Yeah.
So I mean, that itself is a huge cost or whatever, and the music wasn't, like I said, it didn't seem bad, but none of it was super memorable. And the characters, like the voice acting, it wasn't like Robin Williams was bad. It's almost like the decision of what they used in the Robin Williams stuff was not great. And the two main leads, Samantha Mathis voicing Krista and Jonathan Ward voicing Zach, it's almost like, they say a good director is, one of their roles, for one, is to get the vision out onto the screen, but the other is to get a really convincing performance out of your actors. Yeah. You got good actors and all this stuff, but it's up to the director to pull the best bit of that actor out of them, challenge them, push them to different limits emotionally, do multiple takes from multiple different ways or whatever. And I feel like a lot of the stuff with Samantha Mathis was like super one note. It was just like, oh my gosh, it's a human. Yeah. Oh wow, we're a human now.
Definitely felt very one-dimensional.
We need to go talk to Maggie.
Yeah, it's hard. Again, it's really short, and it's definitely geared for kids. They have to really make it really cut and dry how simple this story is, and how they have to really define what they're doing and this person good, this person not good.
Correct.
And I think that's a compliment to the movie too, because it's not trying to be something that it isn't. It's leaning into the simplicity of it all.
It's not like the complexities of like the Iron Giant.
Right.
Where that is like,
great example.
Where that's definitely, you can watch it as I'm muted. You can watch it as a child. You can show it to a child and they'll enjoy it for what it is. But then you can also watch it as of a more older or mature person and get even
more out of it.
Like peel back the layers even more out of it.
Yeah. It's similar to compare it to something like Aladdin. You know that Aladdin good, Jafar bad.
Right.
But the extremes of those characters are way more directly drawn and very, definitively pointed out to the kid audience.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
I think
you have an all-time voice actor like Robin Williams, who did a great job in both.
Yes.
More memorable in Aladdin, probably just because of the choices that were made by the director or whatever.
Yeah.
But then you have, excuse me, it's not Jeremy Irons. Jeremy Irons does Scar. I don't know who does Jafar, but it's like, what a terrific voice actor that is, and a great villain.
Yeah.
Hexus could be something that is like memorable forever, but I think it kind of gets lumped into a more or less forgettable movie.
Jonathan Freeman voiced Jafar.
Jonathan Freeman, man, I should know that name.
I mean, ultimately though, it comes down to the writing. For Aladdin, the writing was very well done.
I don't think the writing was bad in this. It just fell flat.
Yeah,
there's just not that much to it.
Yeah,
that leads to my point though, is that Aladdin, like, they had like memorable songs,
more memorable characters,
very charismatic characters, and with FernGully, although I can see how that someone could have like a nostalgic lens on this kind of movie.
Sure.
Objectively though, when I was watching it, I was like, yeah, okay, it's this is a kids movie, but it's not. It's
kind of a, and I'll just say this before we kind of get into the group discussion. But I think that for me, the big takeaway was it wasn't engaging enough for me, a 38-year-old guy who's never seen it before.
A 38-year-old guy watching FernGully,
who has seen other movies that have the same message delivered differently,
but done much better and differently. I liked the message.
Yeah,
I liked that they're trying to get this environmental aspect out to kids. It just felt like a lot of the aspects of the movie felt derivative, and they're pulling out other stuff from other things. And but at the same time, like, knowing it was done the same year as Aladdin, Krista's dad, he's like this little nymph fairy thing.
Yeah,
I was like, he looks just like the Sultan in Aladdin.
Right. Yeah, he does.
There's a couple moments. He even talks kind of like him, and I'm like, did they rip that off? This is the same year. It came out the same year, so they couldn't have.
Yeah,
it's very, very strange. There's a lot of weird oddities to this, and I can understand why I don't think people consciously think of it as like B-tier animation, but it never is in the same conversation of when you're like, you'll hear people will say, oh, you really have to go visit Treasure Planet or Road to Atlantis or Road to El Dorado or whatever, Atlantis, the Lost Kingdom, because like those are groundbreaking sort of pushing the boundaries of animation of that era, and they don't get talked about much. I don't ever hear people lumping FernGully in with the classics of the Disney era, because I think it's so far down, step 2 or 3 steps down from that it's just good enough for a child audience.
Right.
And if you have that nostalgic factor to it, like MacKenzie does, or you do, Tyler, it'll hit a little bit more. But for me, I was fighting to stay awake on an hour and 16-minute long movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I got.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to break down this movie other than that. I think the some of the animation was good. I thought what could have been improved on was the background painting. That felt really like cobbled together. I think the animation was good, but the backgrounds I wasn't a fan of, and it's hard to not compare this style of movie with the movies that, I mean, like Akira came out in 1989, and so this movie came out in 92. So like when you compare and contrast like animation styles like that, you're thinking to yourself, I was short sailed or
short shifted
because but again, this is just a movie just to plop your kids in front of so that you can go and make whoopee.
I guess it's better than putting them in front of like Coco Melon or friggin' Caillou or something like that, where you're just like, this insufferable character we're gonna watch. It's like, teach them a little bit about the environment, plop them down right here.
Yeah,
they can have some sayings from Batty that make no sense.
Yeah, I did thought the existence of Batty was very frightening. Like
the existence of Batty.
Yeah, because because he has the the antenna.
Yeah.
And he's crazy because he's been experimented on. It goes over a kid's head, but when I was watching it as a 32 adult male, cis white male,
I got to throw that in there.
This is why male proud, goddammit.
And the pronouns in which I say he and him.
How else can you say that you're born a man, male assigned at
Why
birth?
are you making this clarification? Don't get it twisted.
and-
I'm not one of them, they, them.
I just
and
want
from
everyone to
America.
know.
Anyways, it was kind of like a terrifying thing to think about, that this bat living in this rainforest was experimented on and had this like horrific trauma put on him, and it's not really even acknowledged. It's briefly acknowledged, but they don't. And I'm not saying they should have gone into it more, but there should have been a little bit more sympathy for his,
where he came from.
Yeah,
I guess so. I mean, but then that's kind of a little bit more of a heavy subject matter than for kids of this age who would be watching this movie.
Right. And I think this movie could have been a little bit more well regarded if it kind of went into that sort of subject matter of human abuse towards like the environment and animal experimentation and stuff like that. But like you would have to write it in a very simple and clever way for it to be digestible for small children.
So what did you think, Pete, where it took place? You said you had a theory. Or
Yes. So Rick and Rock, or whatever their names are. Let's see, what is it? Stump. Ock and what is it?
The ones in the machine?
No, those are the humans. They're cassowaries.
Oh, okay.
The giant birds with the crown on their head, like big, like mohawk looking thing. So they're at the very beginning of the movie. Cassowaries are native to Australia and New Zealand. And Australia has nothing like this in it.
Yeah.
Jack is basically walking around in a desolate wasteland waiting for Furiosa to accost him every day on his way to work. But in New Zealand, it just looks like this, and Lord of the Rings everywhere.
Yeah.
So this has to be New Zealand.
Okay.
Which is strange.
Did they even have rainforests in New Zealand?
Rainforest?
Yeah.
They do?
Yeah, it's lush.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know.
I've been there.
Yeah, go look up, watch Hunt for the Wilder People.
I already did.
What are they in?
You didn't get that out of that?
They're in the bush.
Yeah, I guess
they're out in the bush.
You're right.
And Oro was Australia before it became a desolate wasteland.
Oh shit!
Oh.
Yeah, this is pre Mad Max. This is pre history.
Yeah.
So, and then there's also wallabies or kangaroos that they see at a couple of points. So
yeah,
I don't know if those are actually in New Zealand. I can't comment on that.
There's definitely penguins in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Interesting. There's definitely kangaroos in Australia.
And then yeah, that's true. They probably just swam over.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that Tone Loc, I knew it was Tone Loc the second he started singing. He's got that great, deep, raspy voice. He plays also the Ace Ventura's partner in the original Ace Ventura movie.
I didn't know his actual name was Tone Loc.
Tone Loc, yeah.
Interesting name.
Loc.
Yeah.
Stage name.
And I think he plays a Degu. I think the lizard that he is a Degu.
Oh, yeah.
Degu. Yeah, really, really. I liked his song where he was getting ready to eat him.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you spit him out? He's my friend. Any friend of a fairy is a friend of mine, but you owe me a free dinner. Yeah. Bitch.
I like that part when he called her a bitch.
Me too. It's like you.
It was a little out of left field, but
it seemed out of place at the time. But I think as a child they'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
I think it was lost on a lot of people how terrifying it would be to, one, not only meet a fairy, and two, get shrunken down to the size of this fairy.
Yeah, they'd be terrified to meet a fairy.
Yes, they would. Are you kidding me?
Why?
Because they're not real.
Wait. In this world, they're real.
No, they don't. He doesn't know that. Zach doesn't know that. He doesn't know fairies are real.
I have a little bit of a problem with the whole concept of the fairies. This is a similar problem I have with the Little Mermaid. Okay. They sing a whole
mermaids. Come on.
No, it's not that. I'm on board with the mermaids.
Talking fish.
They all speak English. Right. To us. Strange.
Yeah, that is strange.
I assume that Zach speaks English because he's from the valley.
Yeah.
He's talking about tubular babes and shredding the frickin' pipes and whatnot.
Yeah.
And he's got the long,
Yeah.
like
Blonde
bleached
hair.
mullet. Yeah, like what's his name?
Prince Charming?
No, fucking
John Smith?
Christian Slater
Oh,
from
Christian
Gleaming
Slater.
the Cube or whatever.
Christian Slater, yeah.
Or Josh Brolin from that one skateboard movie. Can't remember the name. Thrashing. Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Oh, it's great. It's actually really good.
Okay.
But so he speaks English. He gets shrunken down. They speak English. They're all understanding each other now. They're speaking English.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, in The Little Mermaid, they sing a whole song about how I want to be up there on part of the world or whatever. And she goes, up where they walk, up where they run, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
And at one point she says, dancing around on those, what do they call them? Feet? Do you not have feet in the ocean? You speak the same language as everybody. Does no ocean creature have a feet?
Crabs have feet?
Is feet a word that is confusing to this mermaid that speaks English? In FernGully, she
That's
says...
so true. I didn't even think about that.
He says, what do you do for a living? She goes, what do you mean? He's like, do you have a job? And she goes, job? What's that? They speak English.
Yeah,
Either they speak English or they don't speak English. She's confused about this.
Maybe they
thing.
don't have the same vocabulary.
Do they not have a hierarchical society where people have to have jobs?
Maybe it's just a different word.
But why that word about all the other ones? Why can't they speak English and everybody understands it?
And they're fluent in it too.
At least in Avatar, they make
Well,
sense.
if they didn't speak English, we wouldn't understand them.
Yeah, at least in Avatar, they try to make sense out of it because he becomes that entity. He becomes that
and they
race.
have their own language.
Yeah, and they fuck through their necks or whatever.
10 ponytails.
Yeah, the ponytails. My bad. Yeah,
their necks.
They're necking.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, yeah, we don't know what you don't know what a job is. Great, very good for you. You don't have to work. You're a fairy. All these average Joes
I don't
over
think
here.
they have the Oxford Dictionary down under the ocean.
Well,
Then how'd they learn how to sing the rest of the song?
Well, maybe one was found on a sunken ship.
What's an interesting problem to have with movies that because there's other movies where it's like it takes place in a different country where they wouldn't speak English, but they're like 300, right?
Yeah.
They're speaking English to us.
Sure.
My interpretation of watching movies like that is that to us they're speaking English. In their world, they're speaking whatever language they're supposed to be speaking.
I'm on board with that.
To make it accessible and not considered a foreign movie.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I think about movies like Apocalypto, though, and they speak the native language
Yeah.
It's
with
very bold
subtitles.
Very bold choice.
Not an accessible movie.
Yeah. Very.
know.
Almost not a kids movie.
Well,
You could plop the kids down in front of that and make love.
Because there are definitely movies like Apocalypto where it's like, it's like an immersion thing where like I want to be in a world where the people are actually speaking and from the world they're supposed to be in or the country they're supposed to be in.
Kevin says he likes it when movies start in a foreign language and then change to English. They do that in Crimson Tide, I think. Crimson Tide, they're speaking like Russian or whatever, and then it zooms in on the speaking Russian, then zooms out, and they're all speaking English. And for the rest of the movie, they're doing English.
A qualm that I have, sorry, Tyler.
Oh, go ahead.
I have. This is not about FernGully.
This is not about FernGully.
It's movies like where, say, it's like it takes place in Russia. It's a movie that's not primarily in a foreign language, but there's two characters who are from the same country who both have like Russian accents or something, but they're together alone. They both speak Russian. They understand Russian. They write Russian, but they're speaking English to one another
In Russian.
When you would think it would be easier to speak in your own language.
Oh, I see what you mean. I see. Like they didn't switch back.
Yeah. Like that's something that I noticed in movies. I'm like, why don't you just speak in your own language? You're both speaking with a Russian accent.
Yeah.
And you obviously have spoken that language before, but now you're just speaking English with one another.
It's for the audience.
Yeah, but
I
I think it's lost on a lot of people just how terrifying it would be.
Oh, here we go. Back to this again.
Well, I wasn't finished with my point.
To be in front of a fairy?
to find a fairy in a world that nothing supernatural exists, as far as we know. And two, this supernatural creature shrinks you down to her size. You pass out. You can't fly. She can fly. So you're on a tree branch.
You can fly.
You're on a tree branch. You could die from.
I'm flying.
You could die.
And she comes out with a knife pointed at him.
Yeah. Yeah, she has a knife pointed at him. And by the way, they don't even mention like the whole the whole like animal hierarchy, because we know that animals eat each other, right? So that lizard certainly tried to eat Zach. So he'd be fighting for his life. He doesn't have magic. He only has a pocket knife. Like there's going to be bugs attacking him. It's going to be like the King Kong bug pit.
So if you discovered if you were on a walk in the woods, I don't know, like as you do.
I do walk in the woods.
And you found a fairy that looked like
Krista,
one of these fairies.
Yeah.
Right? You would be scared.
I would be terrified. I would literally sprint into the opposite direction.
What if it was like, wait, I just want to talk?
I would be like, I don't care.
You wouldn't. I don't know.
I wouldn't be inquisitive about it because I don't. Here's the thing.
Which is scarier, a fairy or a witch?
God, a witch, of course.
Are you thinking of the fairies from like Labyrinth, where they bite you? Or
I'm thinking about any.
He's worried that he might be sexually aroused.
Oh, the
by
fairies,
the fairy.
or the fairies from Hellboy, where they eat teeth.
The temptation.
Oh God, yeah.
The temptation is too much.
What if it looked like Tinkerbell?
No.
Again, the sexual frustration.
Yeah,
you're too small.
It'll never work.
Actually, you might just be the right size.
Yeah.
Zing.
I swear, by human scale, it's still big.
No. But like, this would be a terrifying scenario for Zach, and
he's terrified. He wakes up, he's terrified.
Yeah. So, but to bring up my point, or not my point, but to answer your question. If I encountered a fairy,
what if it was injured
on my,
Tyler's like, I give it mouth to mouth right off the bat.
These scenarios.
She's got a sprained ankle though.
Well, she can't fly. She got a broken wing.
Mouth to mouth, anyways. Doesn't matter. Mouth to mouth.
What if she was like floating in the river? You save her like a bee.
Yeah. Just give her a little sugar water, and then of course the mouth to mouth.
I don't know. Maybe I should write a story about me encountering a fairy.
Conquering your fears of fairy.
Yeah, bring it to the show next week.
Yeah,
some erotic fan fiction.
I'll put pen to page on it. But yeah, I just think that it's so lost on kids that.
The dangers of fairies.
Well, exactly the dangers of fairies.
Where's the more you know?
All she has to say is like this little rhyme, and your life could be permanently altered. Like what if what if
ants in your pants?
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, oh, there's ants in my pants. Why would you do that, Krista?
So all she has to do is make a rhyme out of something.
Yeah,
and then flick of the. Did she have a wand or something? Or
she just used her hand. She just made some rhyme, and then she could conjure up things.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But that's what I really like when I watch children's movies, because they present these what would seem to be whimsical stories.
Yeah.
But then I like to think of the reality. I put myself in that situation where if a fairy shrunk me down to the size of her own self, I would be mortified.
It's also very convenient that he's exactly the same size. Like, what if he shrunk her down, but he was like 6 inches tall and she's 2 inches tall? He would look like a giant to her still.
Yeah.
And she couldn't like carry him around. Or what if he was tiny to her and she could put him in? How small would he be?
I'd be interested to see
an ant
to be shrunk to the size of like a nutcracker.
Oh, a little like
not that small, but like as tall as like
12 inches, like 12 inches long.
What would that be like? It's also hard to imagine a human that size walking around.
It would be terrifying.
It would be very strange.
It would be terrifying.
So Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Is that movie scary to you?
I was gonna say that's a documentary.
Yeah, no, that is a scary movie to me.
I used to think it was cool to be shrunk down like that.
No, absolutely not.
I could sit on my tiny couch.
Do you think about all the predators that are tiny sized? Like, come on, no, that's scary.
I think I was also intrigued by the idea because of the Native American in the cupboard.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Indian in the cupboard. Yeah.
Whoa. Okay. Canceled.
That's the name of the. Wait, what? That's the name of the movie.
Canceled.
That's the name of the movie.
That's why I said Native American in the cupboard.
But my God.
Yeah, but what if the name of the title of the movie had the N-word in it? Would you say that?
Probably not.
You know, I was actually thinking about that the other day. I was texting with messaging Kevin on our group chat or on our Facebook Messenger, but on break, and he was just basically disparaging me about my Halloween Ends take, with love. And he said, I'm thinking about certain things that just ruin a movie for me, and for Joseph with Furiosa, whatever it was. Got in your crawl, you couldn't get past it. Whatever it was, it could have been a lot of things. But sometimes a movie only needs one thing to really like. As soon as a character does this one thing, I'm out.
Yeah,
Right.
You know. And I'm thinking, a lot of people don't take that as valid criticism. You're like, okay, as soon as they said this, I'm out. I can't do it. Some people are like, if there's a rape scene in the movie, I can't watch it. So I give it a 1-star review, or whatever it is, Yeah. And I'm thinking, what if a character just drops the N-word like 5 times in a row in one scene? Completely out of place, and then the rest of the movie continues
randomly.
Just randomly. It's like Michael. They're listening to the Michael Richards,
stand up.
Yeah, stand up thing where he blew up. In the Comedy Store or whatever.
Hey, he's right here.
Yeah,
Where is he? Right
there he is. Yeah.
He isn't a loathsome, offensive brute.
Loathsome brute. Yeah. So what if that happens in the middle of a movie and then it continues, but it's like a fantastic movie that you love, but just out of nowhere there's
this is that weird part.
It's the Good Will Hunting thing where they just have like the gay sex scene and then move on with the story, and you're like, well, that was really out of place.
Oh, in the script.
In the script.
Yeah.
Does that ruin the whole movie for you? And if so, isn't that valid criticism for like one character pissing you off?
I think
I don't know if it's valid for you. I think.
Yeah. I think. I mean, it's the only example I can think of, just like right off the bat, is Civil War. The ending really soured the movie for me because
that pissed a lot of people off.
Up until that ending, I was all in, and then
that could have ruined the movie for me. I still give it a 5-star rating. But I understand what you're saying though, because I was like, what?
Yeah.
The decision of the character and the way that it's shot makes no sense. And it feels so anti-Garland, like a studio wrote that ending or something.
Right. That's what I was thinking as well.
All that being said, FernGully, great movie.
Yeah. Well, the water
sign of a good movie. We're talking about other movies.
I felt bad for the Guy Fairy though, because she was leading him on and on.
Pips.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Christian Slater was going to be in it a little bit more. He's second build.
Yeah.
I thought he was like her brother or something.
No, well, if that's the way she hugs her brother, then there's a whole another discussion about that, because in the beginning you're led to believe that it's like unrequited love, but she's like kind of pulling him along, and then this blonde asshole comes through.
Hey, he didn't ask to be there.
Yeah, he was just doing the worst job. Like this is his summer gig. What a terrible job! And then he's giving it no effort.
Hey, want to come to deforest the rainforest?
Yeah, bro, freaking sick.
Yeah, it's really good pay, bro.
That sounds like a righteous job, my guy.
Righteous job.
Yeah.
But
Tyler, your mom's in the chat.
Oh, hi, Mom.
Yeah.
She said she wouldn't want to meet a fairy either.
Yeah.
See, yeah, we're cut from the same cloth.
That's right.
Literally.
Terrifying. They have sharp teeth. Yeah, that's the Hellboy 2 version.
Yeah.
They are freaky.
But anyways, as far as FernGully goes, I felt bad for the male fairy because he was getting drug along.
He's getting cucked.
Yeah, I don't know if you're using that term correctly, but
when they banged on that lily pad, he was watching.
Yeah.
Did you notice in the scene where they're singing and they're both floating around in the water, and she gives him the fairy powers for a second?
Yeah.
And she they kiss for a second, and then they get away, and he looks down like he's looking at his schwanz.
I noticed that,
and then it turns out he's just floating, and you're like, they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, about to have the hardest boner right now.
Yeah, no,
Your son said that, Jamie.
No, they. No, I knew what they were getting up to at that waterfall.
They knew.
They're fornicating.
There was a lot of underwater stuff.
And the male fairy was watching and crying while he was abusing himself.
Definition of a cuck.
I have a little bit of a parallel, some inspiration. In 1986's American Tail, the prequel to Fievel Goes West, we covered on this show.
Yeah.
there's a character named Digit who's like a cockroach, who's the accountant for the bad rat or cat or whatever he is. He has the antennas with the electricity going through it all the time.
Yeah.
As he's like calculating and stuff.
Yeah.
Reminded me a lot of Batty in this.
Yeah. I think Batty was underused.
I do too. I feel like it was a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Trying to think here. Anything else specifically? We have "Life Is a Magic Thing." That's like the title track or whatever. The big single from this this movie. I don't remember it at all. Batty rap. That.
Oh yeah, I remember the rap, but I don't really remember how it went.
Yeah.
So listen to this. If I'm going to eat somebody, in parentheses, it might as well be you. Written by Jimmy Buffett and Mike Utley.
Get ready.
Performed by Tone Loc.
Jimmy Buffett.
Toxic Love, catchy song. Don't remember it. Raining Like Magic. Written by Raffi, the children's guy.
Oh yeah, Deanna pointed that out. She was like, "Is this Raffi?"
It is Raffi. Land of a Thousand Dances. Don't remember that. A Dream Worth Keeping. Alan Silvestri and Jimmy Webb, and then Some Other World, written by Elton John and Bruce Roberts.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez, that's where all the budget went.
Yep.
Yeah. The so Toxic Love, that song, which was performed by Tim Curry, had obvious sexual themes and implications, and various verses from the original song were cut and or rewritten to make it more appropriate for a family movie.
Interesting.
And Tim Curry's original voice recordings were so eerie and sinister that it made children cry during test screenings.
He's creepy.
She had to be called back to do to record some less intimidating retakes.
Oh, yeah, Tim, can you tone it down a little bit?
You're scaring the kids.
The kids are crying. FernGully grossed $32.7 million worldwide, which included $24 million from the U.S., $3.4 from Australia.
$20 million movie, right?
24.
Yeah,
$24 million movie. It had moderate success, it was described as, but it had a very big home video market.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, there was a...
and a sequel.
Yeah, there was a sequel.
There was a
1992 sequel did not equal a third of the gross for Disney's 1991 film Beauty and the Beast. Let's see what else. And the profits for it, Wayne Young stated that the portions of the film's gross would be donated to Greenpeace and the Rainforest Foundation Fund and the Sierra Club, as well as special fund benefiting environmental projects administered worldwide by the Smithsonian Institute.
Nerd.
Although he did not disclose the exact figures. These are Hollywood accounting.
Oh, yeah.
The film inspired a 1992 video game the same year from Capcom called FernGully. The FernGully, it was called. It was the computerized coloring book was the full title.
Coloring book?
The FernGully computerized coloring book.
Oh, okay.
In 1998, the film was followed by a direct-to-video sequel, FernGully 2, The Magical Rescue.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's everything I have to say about the movie.
Yeah, I mean, what's more else to say other than like our,
things
hypothetical?
Things happen very quickly. But things like he gets drunk, he accepts that he's small, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna stop this guy that I was working for." And then it's over.
I realize that I'm bad now.
Yeah, I was the baddie the whole time.
I know. Are we the baddies? So that's FernGully, the Last Rainforest from 1992.
Did MacKenzie still like it?
She says, yeah, in her thing, she says it still is very watchable and she still really likes it.
Yeah, she says it still holds up. But, that...
Now, how much did you get watching this and having seen Avatar? How much did you get, like, in terms of comparisons in terms of the story?
Not a ton, to be honest. I mean, you have an outsider who is being introduced into more or less kind of forcefully, accidentally sort of introduced into this, like...
Yeah.
nature-focused subculture, and then they realize after the fact that, oh, maybe I should be nice to nature. Other than that, I didn't have a huge amount of it. I mean, unobtainium they're mining for, but it's like a general involved, a couple of guys in a bulldozer.
I can't believe he called it unobtainium. I can't believe he got away with that.
I'm pretty sure that's like a placeholder name for, it's in a lot of movies, unobtainium.
Is it really?
But it's kind of accepted, like you're supposed to replace it afterwards with a different name.
It's like when you're looking at fonts and it says lorem ipsum.
Lorem ipsum, yeah, exactly.
You're supposed to change it like Mad Libs.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know.
I mean, like that's like kind of like a story like as old as time. Like one guy comes from a different cultural experience.
Yeah.
Goes into another cultural experience. learns that culture.
It's for
fights
different
about-
generations.
Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's.
I haven't seen Avatar in a really long time.
Yeah,
I haven't either.
I didn't see the sequel either.
No, I didn't either.
Yeah.
Not impressed.
I didn't watch it either.
Fuck Avatar 2.
Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
I did watch Pocahontas recently for the first time, and
I love Pocahontas.
After or before?
before this, before FernGully, like I don't know, like a month ago or something like that. And I don't see. I mean, it's the groundwork of the story is about the same, but there's so much more.
But also,
in the
like the
details.
story of Pocahontas is something that happened in real life.
I mean, so we believe.
Yeah.
Pocahontas was my first crush.
Just like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
How do you think she would feel if you calling her what you said earlier?
I was saying the title of the movie for Christ's sakes. Come on. All right, fine.
Canceled.
I can't win. I can't win.
All right, so let's go some grades on it. Tyler, you've already given us a
Mother
B-
confirmed.
B-.
Tyler loved Pocahontas.
Yeah.
Loved.
The person or the movie? Both?
Probably both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
He took his hand to himself.
My mother's in the chat.
He called her Coco Pontus.
Yeah.
Coco Pontus?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Coco Pontus.
So anyways, yeah, I'll still side with my letterbox grade as a B-. I mean, you get what. What?
Your brother's outing you right now.
Your mom says that you used to kiss the TV when the movie was on, when you watched it.
Mom.
Mom!
Stop.
I love it. I
caught
love
up with
it.
his pants down.
I know.
Anyways,
I want to see that picture. Post it on the Ugly Truth Facebook page.
Yeah,
But,
and picture evidence.
Yeah.
God, I hope not. Don't you do it. But God damn it. I'm all flustered now.
I can see your face is turning bright red.
I know, I'm crimson.
I know.
I still agree with my grade though as a B-. It's you get what you get, and they don't try too hard, they don't try too little. It's like what Joseph said, very middle in the ground, and I can appreciate that, and I think that is actually a great compliment for a film that
More mid movies.
exactly
More mid movies.
yeah
More mid movies.
so B-.
Okay. Yeah, I'm like a B on it. It's just very average. If I had watched it as a kid, I'd have a little bit more appreciation for it, but I did not. I didn't even know it existed until a few years ago. So, yeah, there's not much to take from it because the movie kind of paints it pretty cut and dry, what it's about and what it's supposed to mean, I guess.
All right.
So yeah, B.
Okay, that's fair. I'm low on this scale.
F.
Give it like a C, like a low C. I think that there's like sloppy editing. There's like animation points that don't match up with the lyrics at all. I mean, and this is, and the version that I watched was on Tubi, and it was like an Arrow Video Kids.
Yeah.
Really good quality video. I imagine this is like the best version that you're gonna get to be put out. So I mean, maybe the original one was a little bit more put together, but I highly doubt it. And I think that the songs are probably the best part of it, and the overall message, even though it's just it's a message for 10-year-olds. You know, it's like very these are the bad guys, these are the good guys. Don't be the bad guys.
Yeah.
Don't eat cake on the clock.
Yeah.
Don't have buck teeth. Don't be a big fat guy that
Yeah, why do you have cake?
the big fat guy that talks like he's from New York. You know, it's like you're bad if you're from New York. I don't know. I got mixed up in that message.
That is a good question. Why did he have cake?
Because he's a big fat guy.
Yeah, but where he like is that
Where did he
a
get it?
That was his lunch. He
That's not
packed
an
that.
environment for cake.
Yeah, I like how they
No,
also
it
said that Zach clocked off, you know, for the day. It's like, where did he go? They must have like a base camp there. He just went back to town.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, I don't know. It was like a C. I really did not enjoy myself very much, and you know,
It's an hour and 16 minutes too long.
sorry, Kenzie.
I had to force myself to enjoy it, which is why like I had to create these horrifying scenarios of like
No, I get it. And here's the thing. Like, I'm glad I watched it though, because the first time I watched it, like, if you're only exposed to high quality, top tier stuff all the damn time, and you watch something like Akira, you're like, this is pretty par for the course for animation.
Yeah.
And then not realizing that it's like that's one of the most heavily detailed, really impressive, like world building animated movies, hand drawn cells over and over and over again, and stuff like Aladdin and Little Mermaid and all these like Kino animation. It's like if you don't stop and go, there is some B stuff, B tier and C tier stuff out there, and that's not bad. It's not like it's a piece of shit. No one should ever see it again. But it gives you a basis of comparison to be able to look at the stuff that is considered a classic and go, that's why it's considered a classic, because this is I could still see all the effort put into FernGully and a lot of benefits to it, but it's just not as high quality of a product as those other classics, and it's not a classic for a reason, in my opinion. So
yeah,
C for me, B minus for Tyler, and a B for Joseph.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, that's all we got. Now it's time for the Wheel of Destiny.
1 wheel, 8 slots, 3 hosts. This is the Wheel of Destiny.
All right, FernGully's off the wheel. Oops.
What'd you do?
I just need to erase it from the wheel here. Okay, so that was the Patreon pick. Thank you, MacKenzie, and also thank you very much for your support.
Yes.
Our Patreon members.
Very much appreciated.
Keep the show going. You have your monthly donations mean a lot. They allow us to do fun stuff and grow the show and get better and you know, have the excitement of knowing that people actually value what we're doing and listen on a regular basis. So I really appreciate that. The next up in rotation is our old pal Jack, who is a Patreon member as well.
He's been up there a couple times.
Has he?
I feel like.
What was it?
And Patreon, didn't he have one earlier this year?
What was it?
I don't know. I feel like he had one earlier.
Let me look. Let me double check. I don't think we had Jack's Patreon up.
I could have sworn we did.
Let's look. Let's take a moment.
Are we going through our catalog here?
No, I'm going to go to my Patreon notes.
Oh, okay.
Let's confirm that. Patreon dates. Here we go. Okay, so we had Frankenhooker. That was Andrew Martin. What else do we have here?
I swear he made us watch something.
I don't remember. I don't think so. Yeah, he's the next one up I have. The Stanford Prison Experiment. He might have had like a donated pick.
Oh, okay.
But MacKenzie is off now. Binge Lord Dan has the very long engagement. What was Javier's? Javier's was Blackberry. We did his already.
Oh, there's Jack right now.
Oh, hi, Jack. Shouldn't you be asleep, my guy?
We're just talking about you.
Yeah, I am so late. What time is it over there?
Yeah, you are late, Jack.
21 hours.
What kind of fan are you?
23 hours ahead?
Something like that. I think it's 21. I think you're right. Yeah, so we're going to put Stanford.
9 a.m.
Stanford
You just woke up.
Prison Experiment.
Stanford Prison Experiment.
Yeah.
Jack, you don't have a 3-day weekend.
Yeah, you don't have a Memorial Day.
Because you're not in America.
I was going to comment on...
It's okay, Jack. I don't either.
On Memorial Day weekend, Tyler's least favorite holiday. We have to remember things.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Why is it my least favorite holiday?
I just said because you have to remember things. A holiday about remembering. Not your strong suit.
All right.
It's funny because it's true.
Okay, cool. So we have a very Stanford Prison Experiment on now for Jack, the Patreon pick. We have Mute from Pete. The Brave Little Toaster. We should go back to back with kids animation for Pete. The Iron Claw from Tyler. American History X from Tyler. Dune Part 1 and Part 2.
Oh, God.
For Joseph.
I forgot about
I like the Dune. At the bottom part.
I just got my 4K Dune Part 2 disc in the mail.
Nice.
Notting Hill from Joseph. A Very Long Engagement from Binge Lord Dan, and that's what we got. So we're going to spin the wheel. This is what we watch next week.
Oh, God. Not a very long spin.
Oh, my God, I called it. It's The Brave Little Toaster.
Okay.
Yes.
Animation block in May.
I remember this movie being very dark.
Another movie I've never seen. Another kids animated movie I haven't seen.
I have it on VHS if you want to watch it together. We'll watch it on a TV VCR combo. Put it in the living room. Okay, so Brave Little Toaster. Let's take a look and see if that's streaming anywhere. It's probably on Disney.
Oh, yeah. Probably.
Let's see here. Is it Disney? I don't know.
Or is it now Disney?
The Brave Little Toaster. Watch now. Not available for streaming anywhere.
You can't rent it?
It says you can't rent it.
What?
It's probably for free on YouTube. They're like an unauthorized list.
That's weird.
An inaccessible classic cartoon movie.
Adam, you hear that? Yeah. Brave Little Toaster, full movie on YouTube.
How long is it?
Hour and 30 minutes.
Okay.
Really?
1.5 million views, uploaded 7 years ago, still up.
Yeah, so it's all right. It's good.
All right.
It's an NTSC version, full screen format.
Damn it. I only watched the PAL version.
You only watch PAL? Oh, son of a bitch. Oh, yeah. Can't wait for this. We'll see. I'm going to watch it on VHS. We'll see what happens. This is a movie I was on repeat from my childhood.
So why did you put the, I guess we'll find out.
Because we didn't have FernGully on the wheel at the time. And I wanted to do a throwback, like,
We didn't have
kids animation movie from my childhood.
Okay.
So that's all it is. And
All right.
We'll do it next week.
Sweet.
All right. Anything else, fellas?
I think that's it.
All right.
No.
So thank you to our cool ass yardities over on Patreon. That's Javier, Heather Sachs, Ryan, Corbin, and Chris. And thank you to everybody in the YouTube live chat. We got a handful of people in there right now. Thank you to Jamie for jumping in, Tyler's mother.
Yes.
Go listen to her podcast. It's called The Ugly Truth, UGLEE Truth, which is a ongoing, long-running podcast with Tyler's mom. With Tyler's made a few appearances on.
I did.
I love your episodes, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Jack's in the chat. He popped in for a moment. Kevin from Real Spoilers. Bruce Perky from Cinematics. Andrew from Cult of Cinema. Joe Bridges. Did I miss anybody?
I feel like
David Rosen from Piecing It Together.
I feel like we're a part of like a universe right now, like the Marvel universe.
It's the homies.
It's the cinema.
Bree was there.
Oh yeah, Brianna was in there for a minute.
Yeah.
I asked her to check my audio, and then she actually watched the whole show.
Oh.
Well, not this part.
Yeah, the first half.
Yeah. She's like, okay, I already did it. It's
yeah,
fine.
and thanks, Kevin, man. It was really fun. It's great when we have people in the chat. It makes the live stream a little bit more interactive and fun. And if you're a podcast listener, make it over to the YouTube. It's a lot of fun. You can watch it immediately, and it's unedited. You get all the
raw, uncut,
warts and all.
Yes.
Yeah. So until next time. Thank you once again to everybody for joining. And for the first half, the Gab Chatter, thank you for Peter John Ross of Social Media Monster. Follow us next week as we review The Brave Little Toaster, which you cannot watch anywhere.
Except on YouTube.
Except for it's illegally on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MCFC podcast, and send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com.
No way, Kevin.
And follow us on Instagram at Middle Class Film Class, and leave us a voicemail, why don't you, at 209-730-6010.
And follow us on TikTok at Middle Class Film Class, and on Twitter at Podcast MCFC.
All right, we'll see you next time, guys.
See you later.
See ya.
Ciao.